Everybody, welcome to today's video. Obviously, we're going to be taking over Real Madrid. There is a wee bit of a twist this one. We're going to be doing a wee bit of a challenge. I put this up on the community page and asked people about this. Like 90% of people were like, yes, do it. So obviously with big Carlo Ancelotti leaving, look, the man has been a fantastic manager. He's done so well with Real Madrid. So I have 5 seasons to win as many trophies as he did in his last 5 years. I actually have his record up here. It's actually kind of disgusting. So we have to win 2 Champions Leagues, 2 Super Cups, 2 leagues, and 2 Spanish Cups. That's going to be kind of rough, I'm not going to lie. That's a lot of trophies to win in 5 years. Obviously, we have a fantastic team. We have the big man Courtois in nets. Obviously, 32 years old, probably going to need a bit of a younger keeper at some point to take over, because obviously, I'm going to leave the save file for this after I'm done with this. So if you are going to have a fantastic team whenever we are done with all this. But Courtois, absolutely world class. Of course, then at the back line, big Rudiger, 31, about to be 32. So once again, but we do have a replacement for him already. Lata, of course, fantastic, only 26. And of course, their new addition at right back, young Trent Alexander-Arnold, still only 25. But obviously, Real Madrid have bought Dean House, and this is the long-term replacement for Rudiger, because like I said, Rudiger's going to be like, what is Rudiger in real life, 34? So like they needed a long-term replacement. Obviously he's not ready yet. I would love, my ideal thing would be able to loan him out for a couple of seasons until Rudiger's done, and then basically bring him in as their full-time replacement, because if I just let the assistant manager go, I don't think he's going to get a lot of football for a couple of years, so I might look to loan him out. Obviously their midfield and forward line is absolutely stacked out. You've got Tchouaméni, also got Camavinga, may have heard of this guy, he's not bad, Jude Bellingham, also have people like Valverde, and then of course the 3 in the forward line is absolutely disgusting. Rodrigo is amazing. He also works really hard, which is a thing I think it's overlooked a little bit, because obviously Vinny and Mbappe are going to do a lot of scoring, but Rodrigo does a lot of the teamwork. Like he's a very, very gifted footballer, but he does a lot of the hard graft. Of course, big Vinicius Jr., he's absolutely disgusting in this. Kylian Mbappe, honestly, he's not bad either, They do have some good young players in the team. Obviously, Dean Housen is one of them. And then we also have Endrick, who, even though, look, he hasn't got a lot of football, but the kid's only like 17, 18. So, like, it's going to take a wee bit of time, but he has probably world-class potential. Of course, they do have also little maestros like Arda Güler, who's actually been getting a decent amount of football under Xavi Alonso in the pre-tour, the pre-season tour, so it'd be good to maybe see him get a wee bit more football, because honestly, technically and mentally, the kid is absolutely fantastic. Physical stats probably where it falls off a little bit, but it's only like a little bit of strength, jump and reach, you don't need to worry about that, but the kid's got some serious talent on the ball. Of course, they do also have newly acquired Franco Mastiatuno, who I think is honestly a fantastic addition to their team, but he's only 16, so one, I would either like to leave in the under 19s for a bit, or loan him out, get him a wee bit of football, but I don't know if we can loan him out there really good. I would like to keep him in Spain, but like I said, they have a stacked out team. This is the formation I'm probably more than likely going to go with. I'm just going to go, look, if we have to win 2 league titles, 2 Super Cups, 2 Champions Leagues, and 2 Spanish Cups, we're going to need to pick a disgusting tactic, and this is the one I'm going to use. This is the Master Puppets from GYR. Of course, like I said, the save file, the corner routine, the updated database, and the tactic that I'm using will all be in the pinned comments once this video goes live, so you can go pick them all up. I really, really like this tactic, and I think this is pretty similar to how Real Madrid play it under Carlo Ancelotti. Obviously, Xavi Alonso will have his own idea of like how he wants to play. He prefers to have 3 centre-backs. I've seen Tchouaméni was playing as centre-back. Honestly, Tchouaméni could play centre-back. Like, if you trained him, he could. 6'2", physical stats are wild. He's got 14 jump and reach, 14 heading at 6'2". Mental stats are insane. He can play football. He can tackle. So he would be a very, very good centre-back. Maybe that's something we could look into in the future. Maybe have Tchouaméni and fucking Dean Housen as our 2 centre-backs. There is a few people on the team that are starting to sort of get a little older. Obviously, like I said, Rudiger's getting a little older, Alaba is getting a little bit older, Mendy is getting a little bit older, so there is a few positions in the team I would like to strengthen a little bit. Obviously, we're absolutely loaded. We have 0. Of course, we did have money, but then also bringing in Trent, his wages, then Dean Housen come in, and then Mastiatuno come in the summer, so they have spent a little bit of money, so we're gonna have to go and sell some players. Then staff-wise, I think Real Madrid staff should be pretty decent, right? I don't really know. Davide Ancelotti, is that actually like Ancelotti's like family member? He's actually pretty good. I would actually keep him as an assistant manager. Like, he's solid, unless we can find somebody disgusting. What is their head of youth development like? 19, 17, 19, he's pretty solid. So I would like to bring in probably a few more staff members, get some better scouts, and obviously I'll reevaluate the medical staff. But what's their coaches like? Fitness coach, 20. I would expect Real Madrid staff to be disgusting, right? Like, it's Real Madrid. 17 will probably look, honestly, to get rid of him. If it's not 19 or 20, we're not keeping them. There's no real point. 15, get him out the door as well. I'm being, look, this is how Real Madrid should be. They should want to have the best of the best staff, footballers, everything. Goalkeeping coach, he's pretty solid, all 15s, only 59. Right, another fitness coach. How many fitness coaches do they have that are horrendous? It actually looks like they've only got one coach, and he's not great. So that's something we're going to have to do. We're going to have to upgrade all the coaching staff. What is their set piece coach like? 10? This can't be real, right? This can't be how Real Madrid staff members are. So obviously we do need to upgrade the staff. So everybody always asks me in every video. So I've started showing this in every video. Now this is how I go about getting the regen staff members. Obviously a bunch of people don't like using the regen staff members. That's perfectly fine. If you don't want to use this tactic, just go on ahead and just play the game how you want. That's the great thing about Football Manager. You don't have to listen to anybody. So the first thing I do is go over to coaching, and then go up to staff search, and then go to coaching attributes here. Then I'm going to go the whole way across to the end. I'm going to go to TCA, to tactical coaching. Make sure the highest number's up at the top. Obviously, I'm Real Madrid. Some of the staff I'm going to be able to bring in is a lot better than the staff you're going to be able to bring in, depending on what club you're at. The next thing I do is look for attacking and defense being very, very high. And then I look for them to be ahead of youth development. As you can see, this guy, 19 for attacking, 18 for defense, ahead of youth development. Jonathan Bredal, already disgusting. Honestly, I'm just going to make him my assistant manager because he's actually disgusting. So he's going to replace the guy that we currently have. Then once again, like I said, I just do the same thing. I just scroll down. Here's another one, 19 and 18 for attacking and defense, head of youth development. Marine Martins, another one. Honestly, he could be a really good head of youth development. He's happy enough to be a coach. And like I said, this is all I do. Just rinse and repeat. There's another one, 16 and 16. Martian, he's also disgusting. Just bring him in as a coach. And this is all I do. This, obviously, your fitness coaches, your set piece coaches, and your goalkeeping coaches are different. You just literally go and search if you want a good goalkeeping coach, which we do actually need. You just go up, hit goalkeeping, go to the top guy, have a look at him. Yeah, he's pretty solid. He'll do as a goalkeeping coach. And then that's all you do. But like I said, for the actual coaches, you can bring in a lot of the regen staff members as coaches, and like I said, you've seen their stats, like they are disgusting, and it'll make your team a lot better. Like I said, there is a couple of positions I do want to strengthen. I think we've got a very, very good squad. Like I said, a few players aging out and stuff, but there is a few young players I would like to bring into the team. Obviously, we don't have a ton of cash, so we're going to have to sell some people, so I'm going to go and do that now. So obviously, if I wanted to bring anybody in, I was going to have to sell some people. There is a couple of people I did get rid of and try to keep a decent amount of the squad depth as well. One player went for decent money. You can probably guess who it is. And the main one is Rodrigo. He went to Man City. Like I said, this is more just, he's, out of the front three, Vinicius Jr., Mbappe, and Rodrigo, he's the more sellable asset, the one that I would probably like to... He's the one that I would sell first, if that makes sense, because I'm not going to sell Mbappe and Vinicius Jr. They're both absolutely ridiculous. Rodrigo is also fantastic, but he's the one that always attracts a decent amount of interest. So we sold him on the Man City for a total of 88 million. I think this is absolutely fantastic. Look, ideally, if you were to buy him, he would cost over 100 million, but unfortunately the computer has to pay less money than we do, so this gives us a wee bit of money to play around with. On top of that, I also sold Alba to the Saudi League. Look, this is one of those ones. Look, he's going to be 33. Look, he's still very, very good, but I wanted to bring somebody else in to strengthen a little bit, so we sold him on for a total of 41 million. Thank God for the Saudi League. They're absolutely fantastic. Then we also sold Abraham Diaz over to Newcastle. Didn't get as much money as I would have liked. He wasn't really valued at a ton. We paid 12 million for him a couple seasons ago. Got rid of him for 28, so obviously doubled over our money. I think this is a really, really good deal. Look, he was only valued at like 25 to like 38 million, so we weren't gonna I would love to have got into like the 40s and stuff, but look, it is what it is. One of the first people I brought in, this is on a season loan with an option to buy, is Nico Gonzalez. Obviously he went to Man City, but they always loan him out. As you can see, we've got an optional fee for 36 million into his contract. This is one I do want to activate. He's Spanish, he's 22, he's 6'2", he can play with both feet, he can play all along the middle of the park, which is absolutely fantastic, and this is a really, really good deal. If we get cash, I would say so. We're Real Madrid. If I get cash, I'm definitely activating this. I wanted to bring a left back in, and obviously Miguel Gutierrez. There's a wee bit of a funny story with this one. So if you don't know, Miguel Gutierrez used to play for Real Madrid, then they sold him on to Girona. But here's the thing, right? Real Madrid have a 6.7 million buyback clause. Also, they have a sell-on fee. So when I bought him back for 6.7 million, we got 50% of the sell-on fee. So technically, it only costs us 3.5 million to bring Gutierrez back to the club. Which is fantastic. Look, sold him on for hardly anything, and then we bought him back for 6.7 million, and then like I said, the 3.5 million was refunded. So we technically only cost us 3.5 million to bring Gutierrez back. 22 Spanish. Look, I don't need to explain to you how good Gutierrez is in this game. Even if I would have had to pay the 30 million release clause that he has, I've been happy. But I just thought that was like a funny sort of like thing. The fact that we have a sell on clause or buyback clause, and then we have a sell on clause on top of that. So like it worked out pretty well. And the next one I brought in was Christian Mosquero. Honestly, I'm a huge fan of this guy. I think he's a really, really good centre back in FM. Honestly, don't really know what he's like in real life. It was either between him. Honestly, I could have got Paul Kobasi, but I think it's a bit of an unrealistic transfer because he plays for Barcelona and he wouldn't probably leave to go to Real Madrid. So I brought in Christian Mosquero. I think he's absolutely unreal. He's more of like a no-nonsense. He's more like your Rudiger type player, but more of like a no-nonsense centre back. He just gets stuck in 6'3". I am going to work on his weaker foot, but we had to pay a total of 25.5 million, which I don't think is a lot of cash to pay for a really, really good centre back. So it means we have him and Housen as backups for Rudiger and Melito. I think that's 4 really solid centre backs to have. But the big one to come in and replace Rodrigo leaving was Nico Williams. Look, this just makes sense. He's strong with both feet, good mentality, consistent, enjoys the big games. He's 22 years old. He's Spanish. He had a buyout clause of 43 million, and I was like, I'm activating that. So we literally got him for half of the money we sold Rodrigo one for, and he has amazing potential in this database. He's really, really good. So it means we have Nico on one side, Vinny on the other side, and Mbappe up top. This means rolling into season 1, this is what the team is going to look like. Courtois. Oh, I also did bring somebody else in. I completely forgot about him. So we wanted to bring in like a young Spanish keeper. Obviously, we're going to need like a backup, and I need someone a little bit for the future. So I brought in Jan Garcia. Obviously, in real life, he's away to Barcelona. So yeah, an interesting transfer. But he's really consistent, enjoys the big games. He's got a good mentality. He can play with both feet. He's only 23. He's Spanish. Only costs us 8 million. And he has good potential. He really has good potential in this. It says it's only 3-star, but I've seen him get up there and be really, really good in FM. Obviously, this will be one. He's a wee bit of a backup for Courtois. And down the line, look, we'll see how he develops. If he doesn't become amazing, then he just stays as a backup. But this is what the team will look like for season 1. Courtois, Gutierrez, Rudiger, Melito, and Trent Alexander-Arnold. Tchouaméni, Camavinga, Bellingham, Vinny, Williams, and Mbappe. That's a disgusting forward line. It really is. Like the whole team, I would say, is very, very good. I would say the only chink in our armor is Rudiger being like nearly 33. That's about it. But like I said, we do have Mosquero and Dean Howson as the backups. So I'm interested to see who the assistant manager will put into the team. So this is the only change the assistant manager has made to the team is Mendy goes in a left back, which means we're going to have to lock Gutierrez in. And then it means he puts Camavinga in the DM, and where does Tchouaméni goes down to the bench? Look, I like Valverde, but I want to keep these 3 as our midfielders. So this is the 3 pairs I'm going to have to lock in for the season. Is Trent, because it puts in Danny Carval, and then Tchouaméni and Camavinga. That's great. If we have to lock 3 people in, I'm good with that. But boys, that's all the transfers in, and all the transfers I think we've done very, very well. We built a really good team. Obviously, I have a list of other players I want to bring in, but some of those players have just went to new clubs, or we just don't have the cash to bring them in just yet. But I do have a list of players that I do want to come in to strengthen this squad and just build a disgustingly good team. They've already got a disgustingly good team, but I want like a disgustingly good backup team as well. It's Real Madrid. Look, this is the whole point. If we're going to play as Real Madrid, you just do things that you can't do with normal clubs because you've got that pool. Obviously, I'll bring you back in January if there's anybody good on approach to signs that I'm interested in bringing in. And then hopefully with Real Madrid, us being Real Madrid, right? We have 4.5-star youth recruitment. So I'm hoping we can get some players in for the youth intake, and then we can start building the team through the youth recruitment side of things as well. Obviously, look, I know we can buy players, but I would like to focus on trying to bring players through the youth system if we possibly can. Look, if we have to go out and buy those players when they're younger for a couple million and then bring them through the youth system, we can do that too. Because let's be honest, youth recruitment's a little RNG, and my RNG with youth recruitment, it ain't too hot. But boys, that's enough messing about. Let's go play season 1. So we've got the April and got to our youth intake. The rest of our players aren't fantastic. We've got one decent player, Michael Ayovi. He's Ecuadorian. The only downside is he's got a bit of a horrendous mentality. Like, it's dark red, which means it's pretty bad. There's a fly. It's yeah, but he's got some good stats. His bravery's fantastic. Composure's good. Anticipation's good. Determination is fantastic. Good flair, off the ball's good, good teamwork, good technique, good first touch. So I may put him into like a mentoring group and just see if we can change this over time. But dark red for mentality, it's not great. So boys, we're at the end of season 1. Look, I think one on top of us having an absolutely fantastic team, this tactic is also disgusting, by the way. But like, we just have that nice mix of like youth and experience. Obviously, bringing in people like Howson, I'm bringing in Trent and also Mosquera, and then I have confirmed a signing of a few people for next season, which could be pretty interesting. But we do have a good team. But at some point, we're just gonna have to win everything, because obviously we have to win 2 Spanish Cups, 2 leagues, 2 Champions League, 2 Super Cups. So let's see how we did in the league first. So we started things off with a fantastic 4-1 win over Sevilla, a great 3-1 win over Valencia. We then smashed Villarreal 5-0. We then beat Atletico Madrid 3-1. And in both of our games versus Barcelona, we drew 0-0 in the first match and 1 each in the second match. So a bit of a stalemate there. There wasn't a stalemate on who won the league. Boys, we absolutely smashed it. You probably noticed something straight away. We had 38 games, 34 wins, 4 draws, 0 losses, 118 goal difference, and 106 points. Barcelona only lost 3 games all season and were absolutely nowhere near us. Kylian Mbappe is top goal scorer with 29. Nico Williams is in third with 22. Nico Williams, Trent Alexander-Arnold, and Jude Bellingham are in the average ratings. Trent, 25 assists in the league, which is wild. Rudiger in there for yellow cards, as to be expected. It's Rudiger. Courtois in there with 20 clean sheets. Right in behind him is to Sturgeon. All Blacks also fantastic as well. And then Kylian Mbappe, 7 player of the matches. Look, we knew we were going to be in here for average ratings. Like I said, we do have a fantastic team. This is just a fun little challenge. Keep things interesting. Let's be honest. FM24 is a little far into its cycle right now. So, no, I mean, we're trying different things, having a little bit of fun, because that's the whole point, isn't it? We're just trying to have a good time. And then if we go up into the team stats, this is one I'm very, very interested in. Most points per game is us with 2.79, just ahead of Barcelona. We scored 140 goals. Valencia, actually, the second half, Valencia seem to do really, really well in this database. Like, they just seem to have a decent team. It's weird. They seem to do well, and Spurs seem to do really well in the Premiership. So I don't know what it is. Most shots for is us 860 versus 550, which is wild. Fewer shots against is Barcelona, but we're only like 2 behind them, which is pretty good. Most clean sheets is us with 21. Fewest conceded, we are joint with Barcelona. So we scored 22 goals, we conceded 22 goals and scored 140. All in all, boys, I would say it's a pretty good day in the league. Let's jump over, see how we did in the cup. Before we jump into that, we did have a Super Cup to play, European Super Cup to play, because Real Madrid did win the Champions League a season before. We played Atalanta. They start off the scoring through Scamacca. We hit back 10 minutes later through Kylian Mbappe, but then it finished 1 each in 90 minutes, which took us to extra time. We're in the 92nd minute. We scored through Kylian Mbappe. They did equalise in the 119th minute, which took us to a penalty shootout. The penalty shootouts are a little fucky whenever you're doing the replays. We ended up winning the penalty shootout 8-7. The only person that missed was Duran, and we ended up winning. So we got the Super Cup in the bag right at the start of the season. We have 2 of these to win, so this is fantastic, because we just got a free one, which then took us to the Spanish Cup, where we started things off in the 3rd round against that team. We beat them 5-0. We then moved on to the 4th round, where we played Zamora. We beat them 7-0. Things got a little bit interesting in the quarterfinals, where we faced off against Barcelona. We ended up drawing 2 each. It went the whole way to penalties. They missed 2. We missed 1. Which meant we go to the semi-finals, where things did not start off great. Valencia ended up actually beating us 1-0. As you can see, we had a man sent off as well. But in the second leg, we turned things around and absolutely obliterated them 6-1, which means it takes us to our Spanish Cup final, where we faced off against Atletico Madrid. They actually started off the scoring in the 10th minute. It took us till the 85th minute to get back into the match through Jude Bellingham. It finished 1 each in the 90s, so that took us to extra time, where we took control through a nice Kylian Mbappe goal. Valverde then made a 3-1. They did get one back right at the end of extra time, but it was too little too late. We won the cup 3-2. And this is absolutely fantastic, because that means now we have the Super Cup in the bag, the league in the bag, and the Spanish Cup in the bag. Look, we know we were going to win trophies. We're Real Madrid. There's no like beating around the bush. This is just a wee bit of respect shown to Carlo Ancelotti, because he's been an absolutely fantastic manager. And all, like I said, it's also a wee bit of fun, because when do you get a chance to play with such a good team? That then takes us over to the Champions League. We're still in the group phases. We were in Group E against AC Milan. We drew with them 2 each in the first match. Second match was against Borussia Dortmund. We ended up smashing them 4-0. We also had a man sent off. The next team we had to play against was Aston Villa. They ended up beating us 2-0. So we had a bit of work cut out in the last 3 games, because that's a win, a draw, and a defeat. So things weren't looking great so far. Second match against Aston Villa was another draw. We did turn things around against AC Milan, smashing them 3-0. In our final group stage match, we ended up beating Borussia Dortmund 5-0, so that's 9-0. We beat them in 2 games, which means we finished top of our group, 11 points. Aston Villa just behind us. That's a hard group. Like Aston Villa, AC Milan, and Borussia Dortmund, that's a hard group. Because we finished top of our group, that takes us to the round of 16. We don't have to play the knockouts. We got Stuttgart, we beat them 2-0. This is, I'm not going to lie, an easy draw for us. Then beat them 4-1 the second match to go through to the quarterfinals 6-1. We faced off against Liverpool. We ended up beating them 1-0 at Anfield. Once again, we had another man sent off. But then they had to come back to the Bernabeu where we beat them 2-0. So we beat Liverpool 3-0 in aggregate, which takes us to the semi-finals. We faced off against another English team in Man City. We beat them 2-1 at the Bernabeu. In the second leg, we were also too strong. We beat them 2-0 at the Etihad, which takes us, boys, to a Champions League final. We faced off against a very good PSG team. We started off the scoring in 90 seconds through Kylian Mbappe. 40 minutes later, we then made a 2-0 with the Hernandez OG. Kind of just hit him and went in. Feel bad for him. On the 50th minute, they got one back through Fabian, but we were too strong on the night, which means we win the Champions League 2-1, boys. That's what I like to see, boys. First season, clean sweep, champions of everything. Look, this is exactly what we needed. We needed to get off to a strong start. And like I said, I think we've just built on top of the amazing team we already have. Look, bringing in people like Nico Williams is absolutely fantastic. Look, him going to Barcelona, if he does go to Barcelona this season in real life, that's disgusting. Him on one side and Lamine Yamal on the other. But this is exactly what I wanted. Us to just get the league in the bag. The main thing was the Super Cup, because it's going to be the hard one, because you have to win the Champions League to then have a chance to have a crack at the Super Cup. So you could win the Champions League and then play the Super Cup and then lose, and then you have to win the Champions League or the Europa League again to have another crack at the Super Cup. So the fact that we've got one out of the way, look, it's a little cheeky because Real Madrid had won it the previous season, but I'm still going to take it. I don't care. That is everything in the bag in the first season, boys. So then with regards to player performances, look, the big man Courtois played 55 games, only conceded 35 goals, 29 clean sheets. He is also going to be out of contract, not this summer, but next summer, so I am going to give him another contract. I would like to keep him around for as long as possible. And Big Rudiger played 54 games, 7 goals, 4 assists. The Towel played 52 games, 3 goals, 2 assists. The thing that actually made me happy was seeing Masquero actually getting some football. He started 12 games, 17 off the bench and 1 goal. This is what I expected to happen, him just to get a wee bit of football, and I'm happy with that because it means we have 4 good centre backs. Dean Howson also got a wee bit of football, didn't start as many games, only started 2, 10 off the bench and 1 goal, but still getting a bit of football. And Gutierrez started 33 games, 15 off the bench, 2 goals, 7 assists. And he still started a decent amount of games, 24 games started, 26 off the bench, 4 goals, 5 assists. Who wants him? Is it the Saudi League? Arsenal? Interesting. Maybe one we look to sell in the summer because he is going to be 30. And big Trent Alexander-Arnold played 46 games, 2 goals, 31 assists in his first season. Not bad. Then, of course, Danny Carvajal, who mostly plays a backup to Trent at this point. 16 games started, 33 off the bench, but he got himself 9 assists. Another one I may look to offload because he's going to be 34 and I don't know how much longer we're going to get actual money for him. But there's also the thing, he's Spanish. He's helping us with registration, but he is massively injury prone, but he has a good mentality and he's happy to be a squad player. So I don't know, I'm on the fence what to do with him. Big Touche Mane, 57 games started, 16 goals, 9 assists. Big Camavinga, 57 games started, 17 goals and 6 assists. He's upset he's spaghetti, but I think it's just because he wants a new contract. Yeah, he wants a new contract. And of course we have Big Jude in the middle of the park as well, 56 games started, 26 goals and 12 assists. Of course, we do have Valverde, 14 games started, 44 off the bench, 10 goals, 16 assists. He's just upset because he also wants a new contract. Camavinga also wanted £450,000 a week. I said no. We worked it down to 300, which is still a lot of money. But look, we're winning the Champions League. We're a big team. He's a big player, so I don't mind giving him a wee bit of cash, but he wasn't getting £420,000 a week. Of course, then Vinicius Jr. playing on the left-hand side, 46 games started, 19 goals, 8 assists. I would like to see a wee bit more for him. He's just upset because Camavinga wants a contract, but this is one I would like to see a wee bit more for. I would think like 20 and 20 is a good season for Vinicius Jr. 8 assists, not great. Because then you look at the young man on the other side, Nico Williams in his first season played 53 games, 27 goals, 16 assists. This is kind of what I want, like in and around that that 40 mark for both. He did pretty well for his first season. Kylian Mbappe played 56 games, 42 goals, 18 assists. Obviously, look, there's going to be somebody in the team out of the 3 that's not going to have a great season. I can't expect everybody got like 40 goal contributions, well, unless we score a shit ton of goals, but like somebody's gonna fall off. I'd just like to see a wee bit more from Vinny because I love Vinicius Jr. I think he's a great player. He should have won the Ballon d'Or, by the way. But on top of that, it was also nice to see Endrick get some football. 16 games started, 20 off the bench, 12 goals, 5 assists, couple of green arrows starting to go up. This is one, look, I think he could have really, really good potential, but just like, once again, we just need to keep giving him football. But boys, all in all, like, we have an absolutely disgusting team, and what a season. Won the Super Cup, won the league, won the Spanish Cup, won the Champions League. So that's, like I said, we just need, if we could do that in one more season, if we could win everything in one more season, that would literally be the challenge over straight away. And like, I expected us to win trophies. We're fucking Real Madrid. But this, I'm not going to lie to you, I usually play with sort of like reasonably smaller teams, mostly in my rebuilds. It's actually nice to play with a god team and just smash everybody. But boys, that's the end of season 1. Let's jump over into season 2. So then obviously moving into this season, look, I just want to do what we did last season. If we could do that again, that'd be absolutely great. But just being consistent. The only person that went was Big Lunin. Obviously he wants to go out the door, wants to be first choice keeper. It's understandable. He went to Bayern. Don't know if that's a great option, but obviously we have Garcia there, so he's going to play. So it actually gives Garcia more chances to play, because Lunen's actually a pretty good keeper. So whenever our keeper Courtois wasn't playing, it was more than likely Lunen most of the time, so then Garcia wasn't getting games. So this kind of helps out a little bit. So we did get some decent money for him, 22.5 million up from working its way up to 28 million. But I did bring some players in. The first one we confirmed, like I said, I was going to do this anyway, was Nico Gonzalez. Look, he just gives us a lot of versatility. He can play DM, he can play centre of the park, he can play attack and midfield, and he had that 36 million optional fee for whenever we loaned him in last year. So I just activated it in April, and here he is. The next one I brought in because I've heard he's very, very good in this database from quite a few people. I haven't had the chance to get him yet. Is this young guy, Ayoub Bouyaidi? I have no idea how to pronounce his name, but 5'10", look, has a fantastic mentality, super consistent, has a very, very good touch, 15 passing, 15 tackling, 15 technique, work rate is good, determination is good, physical stats are very, very good, and he's only 17 years old. I've dropped him down into the under-19s. At some point I would like to get him a loan out, but look, over here, at 17 years old, he's looking very, very good, and as you can see, could have a long way to go to improve. Look, even if he gets a 3.5 star, maybe an star or star and a half better than this, we've got a very, very good player in the hands. We did have to pay a total of 21 million, which to be honest, I don't think's massive for the potential of the player that we have. Because my main thing is here, look, the Real Madrid team is already very, very good. They have a bunch of really good young players in Arda Güler, Jude Bellingham, Camavinga, Tchouaméni, Howson, Masquero. No, I mean, there's a good base there of young players, and then obviously like Nico Williams and stuff. Kylian Mbappe and Vinicius Jr. aren't exactly old, but when you take the save on, I want you to have like a really, really good team and then another team behind him, so when that team retires, you have another plethora of like really, really good young players to come through. It just means you can keep your reign of terror going for as long as possible. And the last one that I brought in was Samu Almeridian. Look, we have obviously Kylian Mbappe up there, but we need a wee bit more versatility. Look, he's big, strong, physical. He's still pretty quick for a big boy. He's got 15 acceleration and 17 pace, so he is, oh god, hold on, I've got an itchy eyeball. It's really bad. Oh, that's one of them ones that you have to itch or it just doesn't go away. Yeah, he's like a different option. Obviously, he's going to play back up to Kylian Mbappe, but like he's one of those ones, he's just a big physical unit. If we need someone that's a wee bit more rugged, he can walk straight into the team. Obviously, and Kylian Mbappe is going to need games off, so the big man's in here. It actually didn't cost us that much money, 38.5 million. I was actually kind of surprised. I was expecting to pay a little bit more. Also on top of that, he's only 21. He's also Spanish. So obviously this is what the team is going to look like once again for the season. Courtois, Gutierrez, Rudiger, and Militao. Arsenal did try to buy Militao. They only offered us 42 million. I said no. Look how good he is. For 42 million, bro, that's 20 million under his lowest valuation. I would want at least 85 to 100 million. Like, I'm not joking. That like he is that type of player, and he's still only 27. So like I said no, he didn't say anything. So here we are. And then Trent, Tchouaméni, Camavinga, Jude, and this midfield is disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. And then these front three, also just noticed Kylian Mbappe is suspended for the first match against Real Sociedad. Must have been an accumulation of yellow cards. I don't see him getting sent off. And like I said, Vinny, Williams, and Mbappe up top. I'm interested to see if the assistant manager is going to pick this team. So the only change he makes is Mbappe goes out as the inside forward and Vinny goes up top. I'm good with any of those. I don't care who plays up top, as long as one of them plays up top. But like I said, once again, my main thing is I would like to see Arda Güler get a wee bit more football. Obviously, Dean Howson and Masquero get football like they did last year. Dean Howson didn't get just as much, but I'm okay. Look, he's still very, very young. And then obviously, Samuel Almeridian getting a wee bit of football as well. And then that other wee kid that we got, the French one, I dropped him down into the under 19, so he's not going to be in the first team straight away. And then obviously Nico Gonzalez is just going to fill in whenever Camavinga, Jude, or Tuchemeni need a wee day off. But boys, that's enough messing about. That's everybody in the door and everybody out the door. Look, I'll bring you back in January. I don't know if we're going to bring many people in and approach the signs, unless they're really young and really, really good players and I can get them for nothing. And then obviously I'll bring us back in April if the youth intake is good. We did get that young player last year, but unfortunately he has the really bad mentality. But I'm just going to keep an eye on him. Look, he's only 16 years old. We'll just see how he develops over time because he's got good determination and good flair. Obviously, I wish the bad mentality thing wasn't there because this would have been a really, really nice one. Our first youth intake, we get a pretty decent player, but we'll just wait it out and see how it develops down the line. But boys, that's enough messing about. Let's go play season 2. Hopefully we can do the same as we did last year. Boys, we're at the end of season 2. Obviously we just want to keep doing what we did last year and just keep smashing it. We have the team to do it, and like I said, I've brought a few players in. Obviously when the youth intake comes in, I just search through the whole database, and then obviously all the young wonder kids that my scouts are recommending, we've swept up a few of them. There's a few but still like to get, but a couple of them are Brazilian. You can't get them till like 18 type situation, but they're on the short list for down the line. It just means when you take this save over, I'm gonna fill this Real Madrid team, like the under 19s and the B team, just up with a plethora of just absolute monsters. But let's see how we did in the league. So we started things off with a fantastic 4-1 win over Sevilla. We then also beat Villarreal 2-0. Then probably one of our greatest victories this year, slapping Barcelona 4-0. On top of that, we also beat Atletico Madrid 5-0. They did have a man sent off in the 7th minute, but let's be honest, we're kind of too good for them, boys. And a fantastic 4-1 win over Valencia. And as you can see after that, boys, it's fair to say we swept up the league this year. 38 games played, 32 wins, 2 draws. We did have 2 defeats this year. Look, I don't mind. Look, we went undefeated last year. I don't expect it to do that every year. We absolutely killed it. Barcelona and Atletico Bilbao, look, they're games that could go anyway, especially the Barca game. I just noticed they beat us 4-0. So hold on, we beat them 4-0 and then they beat us 4-0. That's actually pretty funny. We had 130 goal difference and we were on 104 points. That's wild. We must have scored. If our goal difference is 130, we must have scored a lot of goals. In the player stats, as you can see, Kylian Mbappe and Jude Bellingham in their second and third. 24 goals for Kylian Mbappe, and Jude got 20, which is really good for midfield. Mbappe and Jude both in there for average ratings. Trent in there with 20 assists at the top. Kylian Mbappe in there with 15 as well. The yellow cards, hold on, you just can't see it. This is actually pretty funny. Yeah, Milito, Rudiger, and Tuchemeni. Boys, look, if you're gonna get the yellow cards in my team, just make sure you're at least first, or we have all 3 positions. Obviously, our team's combative. That's the whole point. Like, we're getting stuck in, we're gonna get yellow cards. Courtois, 24 clean sheets, which is absolutely wild. Kylian Mbappe in there with 7 player of the matches. Team stats, most points per game. We're actually still pretty close to Barcelona. We scored 150 goals, which is absolutely insane. Most shots for, we're 900. I would like to try and break 1,000 at some point. I've never got anywhere near 1,000. We are 400 ahead of Barcelona with regards to shots. Fewer shots against us also was 172. We're a good part ahead. Like, we're 172, they're 238. Most clean sheets is us with 24, and fewest conceded. We conceded 20 goals and scored 150. That's fucking insane. Like I said, I knew this was going to happen. Here's the thing though, I've never played with like a team like Real Madrid and stuff. Real Madrid, let's be fair, Real Madrid's team in this game is fucking disgusting. Like, it really, really is. It's actually disgusting. And I've never had an opportunity to play with a team like this. It has, I'm not gonna lie, it has been fun. But let's go and see how we did in the UEFA Super Cup. So we faced off against Spurs in the Super Cup. We actually started off the scoring through big Camavinga. They hit back 20 minutes later with some terrible defending from us. Just before halftime, they ended up making a 2-1. I don't know what our keeper was doing. Mbappe scored from the penalty to take it to extra time. So right at the end of the match, young Endrick won us the Super Cup. So this is fantastic because, like I said, we have to win 2 of these. So that's both of them out of the way. Both of the leagues out of the way. So all we need now is to win a cup and a Champions League. And that's us done with this challenge. Obviously, we're just going to keep playing and just keep building a fantastic team and just winning as many titles as possible. But Let's see how we did in the Spanish Cup. We started things off in the third round against Lugo. We beat them 4-0. In the fourth round, I just lied to you. We faced off against Marbella. We beat them 8-0. I just noticed Endrick got 4. That then took us to the quarterfinals first leg where we faced off against Vigo. We beat them 3-1. In the semi-final first leg, we faced off against the Alves. We beat them 5-1. There was no second leg in the quarterfinals. You only get one match. I just lied to you again, boys. Then in the second leg against Alves, we beat them 7-0. So that takes us to the final of the cup, 12-1 in aggregate, where we face off against Barcelona, where we actually started off the scoring through young Jude Bellingham. They hit back 4 minutes later, and that took us to extra time. In the 120th minute, they got another goal, where unfortunately that was the final score of the cup. So it means we miss out on the cup this season, but we still have 3 years to win one more cup. So I'm hoping at some point we can do this. We also had Vinicius Jr. sent off, which honestly didn't help us. I just noticed the amount of yellow cards we had is wild. But like Vinny obviously being sent off didn't really help us, but I think that was an extra time. Look, it's one of those ones, look, when you get into a cup final and you face off against Barcelona, it can go any way. They do have a very, very good team. But look, that's enough crying. Let's see how we did in the Champions League. Our first match in the league phase, we faced off against Liverpool. We slapped them 3-0. Once again, they had a man sent off. We then beat Spurs 2-1. It was also our turn to get slapped around. Marseille beat us 4-1. Then we dried off our tears and went and beat Galatasaray 5-2. Had a very hard fought match away to Leipzig, beating them 3-2. We drew 1 each with Arsenal at the Emirates. And we beat that team. I'm not even going to try and pronounce it. Beat them 5-2. This is always the team that always stumps me because I don't know how to pronounce them. But someone did actually tell me in the comments. Brazilian Luke told me this is actually Red Star Belgrade. So now, from now on, I'm going to know who it is. But we slapped them 10-1. And that was us finished in the league phase. As you can see, we ended up finishing second right behind Man United. I'm more surprised than anybody that Man United's ahead of us in the Champions League. But like, they do have a good team in FM. Because we're in the top 8, we automatically qualify for the round of 16. Where things didn't start off too great against PSG, they ended up beating us 2-0. Don't worry, in the return leg, we handed them a little slapping, beating them 5-1. They did also have a man sent off. Which then moved us on to the quarterfinals, where we faced off against Man United. We beat them 1-0 at Old Trafford. Then we took them back to the Santiago Bernabeu and give them a wee cheek clapping 3-0. So that means 4-0 in aggregate, which took us to the semi-finals, where we faced off against Bayern Munich in a fucking crazy match where we won 7-3. In the second leg, it was 1-0. It's like we spunked all our goal scoring in the first round, but here, I'll take it. It means we go through 8-3 to another Champions League final where we face off against Inter Milan, where it took us less than a minute to get on the score sheet through young Nico Williams. 10 minutes later, he added a second to make it 2-0. 20 minutes later, Trent got on the score sheet to make it 3. And then, of course, it wouldn't be a Champions League final without big Jude Bellingham scoring. It kind of just hit him and went in. They did get one back in the 88th minute, but it was too little, too late. Boys, we won another Champions League final 4-1. Boys, this is what I'm talking about. Look, the only thing we missed out on this year was the Spanish Cup, and we made it the whole way to the final. It's what I expect us to do. Look, there's not too often you play a save where you're like, we should be winning things regardless. When you pick up a Real Madrid team as good as this, like, you expect to be able to win in things. So that means Super Cup in the bag, the league in the bag. Unfortunately, missed out on the cup, but we won the Champions League. So the only thing we have left to win to equal Big Don Carlo Ancelotti is another Spanish Cup. So then with regards to player performances, Big Courtois, I was able to give him another year extension, so I'm probably going to have to give him another year extension, depending on how long he wants to play. Look, I want to keep him at the club because he's a phenomenal keeper. Obviously, we do have a keeper, but he's not ready yet. He's one for the future, but he played 56 games, 44 conceded, 29 clean sheets. Big Rudiger played 57 games, 14 goals, I'm guessing mostly probably from corners, and then 4 assists. The Towel played 52 games, 6 goals, 4 assists. Squirrel actually got a decent amount of football, 17 games started, 23 off the bench, 5 goals, 3 assists. He's also starting to look really, really good. So I came back in January and Dean Howson was not getting a lot of football, so I loaned him out to Getafe, which worked out pretty well. He started 16 games, 16 games, no goals, 1 assist. But the good thing is he's getting football. I'm probably more than likely going to loan him out again next year. Gutierrez started 50 games, 1 goal, 15 assists. I would like to see him get a few more assists. I feel like he's very, very capable of getting at least over the 20 mark. Because then the man on the other side, Big Trent, obviously a wee bit more technical, and Gutierrez is a wee bit more well-rounded. Started 57 games, 7 goals, 32 assists. Touche Many, of course, playing as our defensive midfielder. 52 games started, which shows he can play a lot of games and doesn't get a ton of injuries. 6 goals, 9 assists. Camavinga had an absolutely fantastic season. 55 games played, 31 goals and 17 assists. Like I said, he does have that contract for £325,000 a week. But look, honestly, he's worth it. He's a world-class midfielder. And if you've got world-class midfielders, you gotta pay them. And then the big man in beside him somehow managed to have a better season than Camavinga did. 50 games started, 32 goals and 20 assists. So that's 52 goal involvements in 50 games for Jude. Then of course Nico, who we brought in to play as a squad player, started 8 games, 31 off the bench. So he's still getting football. 2 goals, 3 assists. Then of course Big Valverde started 27 games, 27 off the bench, 15 goals and 19 assists. I'm actually honestly more surprised that he's not upset that he's not starting every game. But here, look, if he's happy to play as like a rotating squad player, like how often can you say that you've got a rotating world-class star in your team that just plays 27 games? Yeah, it kind of looks like Kylian Mbappe had a pretty good season. 50 games started, 37 goals and 26 assists. He's playing as the inside forward because obviously it's where the assistant manager wants to play him. I'm happy. I don't care who plays there or who plays up top between him and Vinny, as long as the two of them play. Yeah, he had a 7.69 for the season. Dude, that's wild. What's that? 63 goal involvements in 50 games? That's wild. Of course, then young Nico Williams on the other side. 41 games started, 16 off the bench, 22 goals, 14 assists. But look, he's still going and still has a wee bit of room to improve. Then, of course, Vinicius Jr. mostly played up top. 49 games started, 22 goals, 16 assists, and a 7.48 for the season. Another one that I loaned out when I came back in January was young Arda Güler because he hadn't got a lot of football, so I loaned him out to Real Betis. He started 10 games, 10 off the bench, 2 goals, 1 assist, but like I said, once again, the same with Dean Howson, it's just getting them football because the kid does have a ton of potential. One that I was surprised was getting as much football as he was young Endrick. Obviously, in being able to play with both feet, play on the attacking midfield left and the attacking midfield right and up top, makes him very versatile, so we can cover for either Vinicius, Mbappe, or Nico Williams. Like I said, it means probably why he's getting a lot of football. I just noticed he has 16 strength at 5'9". Okay. So he started 40 games, 16 off the bench, 32 goals and 11 assists. So like I said, what's that? 43 goal involvements in 40 games. Yeah, if he keeps improving, he's going to be disgusting. And then if you think about it, if we didn't have Nico Williams, we would have him on one side, Kylian Mbappe on the other side, and Vinny up top. But like, they're all rotating. Like, they're all going to be fantastic players. Our front line's disgusting. And once again, another one that I noticed that wasn't getting a lot of football in January was Samuel Meridian, obviously with Kylian Mbappe and Vinicius Jr. not missing many games. So I loaned him out to Vigo. 14 games started, 4 off the bench and 7 goals. So once again, if I can get him out on loan and just keep loaning them out, because obviously all these players are going to help when you take over the save, because then you're just going to have a plethora of just amazing players and you'll be able to rotate them better whenever you're playing the matches. Because if I'm simulating, I can't just bring Samuel Meridian on at halftime. No, I mean, I wish I could. I wish there was way more options when you're simulating seasons that like give your teams instructions, but like, it is what it is. Look, probably more likely going to try and loan him out again. I want to keep him happy, keep him playing football and keep him progressing. Boys, all in all, an absolutely disgusting season. Do you want to see something? Right. So I thought Kylian Mbappe had a disgusting season with 37 goals and 26 assists. So obviously every year I've been checking up on the kids in the under-19s just to see how they're getting on. Yeah, Franco Mastiatuno playing in the under-19s started 57 games, right? 58 goals and 47 assists. That's 105 goal involvements in 57 games. Look, I know he's playing in the under-19s, but he's only 18 years old. I've never seen that many goals and assists in the under-19s or just anywhere. That's why 105 goal involvements in 57 games. And to give you like another idea, obviously the wee kid, the wee French kid that we bought, Bouyadi, I think that's how you pronounce his name, he played 49 games, 13 goals, 14 assists. That seems more like something you would do at the under-18s, not 105 goal involvements. But hey, look, if it means Mastiatuno is going to improve by scoring a ton of goals and having a ton of assists, I'm down for it. Also, this kid looks fucking fantastic right now. And he's only a 2-star. But boys, that is the end of season 2. Look, another absolutely fantastic season. Look, the only thing we missed out on the Spanish Cup, which means, like I said, the only thing that we're chasing now is the Spanish Cup win. Obviously, I want to keep trying to win Champions Leagues and winning the league and being as dominant as possible. And like I said, I'm just going to keep snapping up all the really, really good wonder kids. Every time I scout, give me a bunch of wonder kids. I just keep looking at them. If they're good, we still have a ton of money. We have 337 million as a transfer budget. Obviously, I haven't been spending it because whenever I sold Rodrigo over to Man City, I used that money to buy the players that I brought in. Obviously, Gutierrez cost us 3 million. And then Nico Williams costs us what, like 40? And then like the other players, probably one of our most expensive ones was probably Nico at like 36 million. But like even at that, we're making so much money from winning the league, the cup, the Super Cup, and the Champions League. Like I'm not going to spend 337 million on young players. I might if there is any, but like joking aside, we have a ton of cash. Boys, that's enough of messing about. Let's jump into season 3. So boys, moving over into season 3, like I said previously, all we need to do is win the Spanish Cup to equal what the big man has done. But obviously, I want to keep winning trophies. The team hasn't changed too much, but we did have one big player leave. And that person was Antonio Rudiger. Obviously, he went to the Saudi League because, you know, money. They come in, offered. I said no because I didn't want to sell him just yet because he's still a fucking fantastic centre-back. He got upset, said he wanted to leave because of the amount of money he could get as a salary in the Saudi League, which is understandable. He's on 1.1 million for a centre-back. So we get a total of 49 million all up front. Look, this is a good deal for both people. He gets to go spend his career, make 1.1 million a week, and we get near 50 million for a centre-back. It's about to be 34. On top of that, we also sold Fran Garcia. Look, this is one that just never really overly played. Sporting came in and offered us 13 million, 14.2, working its way up there. And I was like, right, okay, look, just let him go and get some football. He's 26. On top of that, we also sold Mendy. Shocker. It was to the Saudi. What are we going to do when the Saudi League won't give us a ton of money in Football Manager anymore? So we sold him on a total of 34 million, working its way up to 42 million. Once again, a really, really good deal for a guy that's going to be 32. He's also injury prone. He wasn't really overly playing that much, and we have a bunch of really good defenders. On top of that, we also sold Danny Carvajal. He's going to be 35 soon. Look, he's also massively injury prone. But on top of that, look, he just doesn't play. We didn't get a ton of cash for him. Got a total of 5 million. Look, it is what it is. It's 5 million still in the bank. So the next one is Mark Gahey. This is one I got last year on an approach to sign. Look, I knew we were going to lose Rudiger at some point. And like I said, Mosquera and Dean Howson are good, but they're not ready just to play as our two main centre backs. So like I said, got him in on a free. Look, absolutely fantastic. He's a really, really good centre back. A little shorter, 6 foot, but he can play with both feet. Good mentality, super consistent. He's only 26. And honestly, free, it's the best price. So then it did also end up signing this young guy, Javier Blasquez. Look, got a ton of potential. He's very, very good all round. Honestly, I think I'm going to train him to play in defensive midfield. Look, he's not fast enough and he's not amazing in the air, but he'll be pretty good all round. So I think I'm going to train him to be our new DM. Honestly, I think long-term replacement probably for Tushimene. Look, it says he's got 4 to 5 star potential. Whether he gets to that, we'll never know. We just have to wait and see over time. But look, we only paid a total of 6 million for him, which I think is an absolute steal. He's 6'2", can play with both feet. He's Spanish. He's only 16. He's got a good mentality. And like I said, we'll just see over time if he's good or not. So we did also bring this young guy in, Juan Martin. This is just like a wee bit of cover for centre back. Obviously, I'm going to loan either Mosquera or Dean Howson out again, because he's more than likely Dean Howson. He's just, Mosquera's a wee bit better than him currently at the minute. I just brought this guy in. Look, it's a bit of cover, 7 million. He was on the transfer list, and I was like, right, it's simple, it's easy, just get him in the door. He can play back up to one of our centre backs. He's also Spanish, so it helps with registration. The big one I went in and swiped was this young guy, Guilherme Fernandez, in this database. Apparently he is absolutely fantastic. A bunch of people have told me he's very, very good. Yeah, we stole him from Barcelona. Look, he's in their B team. We did have to pay a total of 38 million. He did have a release clause, so unfortunately. But look, he has some very, very good traits. One, he's only just turned 18. He's got a good mentality. He's great with both feet. High determination. Fantastic positioning. Amazing vision. Technical stats are very, very good. And like I said, he's only 18 years old and he's Spanish. Once again, we don't know how good he's going to be, but I've heard from a bunch of people he is absolutely fantastic. So we'll bring him in, put him in the under 19s, or try and get him a wee loan spell. But look, he looks like he could be pretty good. So the next one I brought in is this young guy, Johan Van Dam. I'm not gonna lie to you, mostly brought him in for his name. Joking aside, I didn't, because he's actually got some decent stats. I would say I'd like to find this one, but the scouts found this one for me. He's got an amazing mentality, super consistent, he can play with both feet. He's 6'4", 75 kg, so he's a big boy. But he's good. He's actually reasonably quick. He's really good in the air. He's got 15 finishing, mental stats, good determination, good flair, little bit of aggression. And like I said, he has anywhere from 3.5 to 4.5 star potential. Look, if he gets to 3.5, he'd be pretty happy. It's 2 stars better than this. He's only 16 years old. Like I said, I'm trying to buy as many good young players as I can. Costs us a total of 9 million of the finest dollars / pounds. So I have managed to also loan 2 players out. Like I said, Buadidi, I think that's how you pronounce it. I'm never going to get this kid's name right. I have loaned him out to Toulouse for the season. He's progressing very, very well. I think, honestly, if we get him loaned out for a couple of seasons, like 2 or 3 seasons, I think this kid is going to be disgustingly good. How much did we pay for him? 21 million. Look, all in all, if he becomes fantastic, even if he's not, he's a good backup to either Jude or Camavinga, and we've got really good squad player, but I think he's going to be really good. I also managed to get Masti Atuno a wee loan deal as well. He's off the mains for the season. Once again, has a ton of potential, and like I said, if we can get the other French kid and him as backups for Camavinga and for Jude Bellingham, dude, our squad depth's going to be disgusting. But all in all, boys, that's everybody in the door and everybody out the door. Like I said, the only thing that's going to change the team is going to be Mark Gahey is going to come in for Rudiger. I think this is pretty much what the assistant manager is going to pick too, but we'll have a wee look. Yeah, so absolutely nothing changes with the team, and that's pretty much where we're going to go. I've also loaned out Dean Howson again. I forgot about that as well. He's out on a season loan to Rennes. It was either that or 2 Premiership teams, and I'm not too sure if he would start for the Premiership teams, so I just went for the one that was Rennes. He was set as an important player, so I just went with that. I'm trying to get him as much football as possible, so I loaned him out to that team. Look, he has a ton of potential. We just need to get him football, and if he stays at Real Madrid currently, he's only going to get like 4 or 5 games here. I would rather loan him out, get him 30 or 40 games, and then he's going to progress a lot better. But like I said, this is going to be the team for the season. I would still try and loan out Samuel Meridian, but we'll just kind of play that on here. There's nobody interested in him or Arda Güler yet. If I can get them a wee loan deal, I will loan them out, even if we have to wait to January. And once again, just get them like a half a season loan. It's a wee bit of football. Boys, say I bring us back in January for the approach of signs, but I never do. Hopefully we get a good youth intake. I would like just one with Real Madrid before we finish this. Obviously we got that young kid, but he had in the first season, he's got a terrible mentality. It doesn't seem to be going down. It's still dark red, and it's been 2 seasons, so I don't know if we're going to be able to get rid of that at all. But like I said, we'll just wait and see after the 5 seasons, see how good he is. But all in all, boys, that's enough messing about. Let's go play season 3. So boys, the end of season 3. Like I said, I just want us to keep doing what we're doing. Look, we all know we've got a ridiculous team, but I've also brought some ridiculously good young players in for next season. Obviously, I'll show you them later on, but all we need to do is win the cup to complete this challenge in 3 seasons. So let's jump over, see how we did in the league. So we started things off with a fantastic 3-1 win over Valencia. We unfortunately had a 2-1 defeat to Barcelona, but these things are going to happen. When you play Barcelona, the games are like 50-50. They can go anyway. And like we say, the only way to bounce back from a defeat is to go and clap the cheeks off somebody else. So we did that to Villarreal, beating them 3-0. Then I had a very close win over Atletico Madrid. There was an only goal, was an OG. Don't worry, we put on a sterling performance against Zaragoza, beating them 10-0. And after all those fantastic results, we have retained the league, and we have done it in style. As you can see up top here, did 33 games, 35 wins. We had 1 draw against Atletico Bilbao, and then we lost 2 games, 1 to Barcelona, 1 to Atletico Madrid, which, like I said, I'm happy enough with. Because like those teams, especially Barcelona, have a very, very good team in this database. And then we have 117 goal difference and finished on 106 points. The closest teams was Atletico Madrid and Barcelona, both on 91. And then the closest team behind that was nearly 30 points. But for us to finish on 106 and 117 goal difference, pretty good season. This does make me happy though, seeing Vinicius Jr. and Mbappe 1 and 2. I would love if Nico Williams was in here for us to control all 3 of the goals. But 28 goals for Kylian, and Vinicius got 21. Mbappe and Jude in there for average ratings. We have Mbappe and Nico Williams in there for assists, 15 each. Young Lamine Yamal is probably looking absolutely, yeah, this is gonna say he's probably looking disgusting for 3 years in. The crazy part about this is, if you think about it, right? We're 3 years into a rebuild, and Lamine Yamal's only 19. Like, the kid is disgusting, even in real life. Like, I'm hoping he can continue the trend of just being, honestly, he could be like the next like Ronaldo, Messi type player. Obviously, he needs to have like a long career like they did and win a ton of trophies. But like if you look at the shit that they've won already, he's doing pretty well for himself at like what, 17? We don't have anybody in the yellow cards, which is kind of disappointing. Courtois is up there with clean sheets at 20, but so is Sturgeon. So obviously Barcelona had a really good season as well defensively. Mbappe is in there for player of the matches. If you do stroll up to the team overall stats, most points per game is us, 279. Most goals, 145. I think, is this the most goals we've scored? It's so hard to remember. I'm going to have to go back and look at the other seasons and see, is this the season we've scored the most goals? 145. Atletico Madrid actually had over 100 goals. Barcelona are pretty close with 93. Most shots for. We're getting close to that 1,000 mark. We really, really are. I would love to hit over 1,000 shots on a season. And then fewest shots against is us, which is fantastic. Most clean sheets, us and Barcelona. Obviously, we knew that going in with the Sturgeon and Courtois. I was going to call him Courtois having the most clean sheets. Fewest conceded, 28. Dude, we conceded 28 goals, scored 145. It's absolutely wild what you can do with this Real Madrid team. Obviously, we knew that going in. Look, we knew that we're going to be disgusting. Also, this tactic is absolutely wild too. But boys, that is the league in the bag 3 years in a row. This is starting to look a little ridiculous over here. We're 4 back to back. But like I said, we need to win the cup to finish this challenge. So let's go over and see how we did. So we started things off in the third round of cup against Helvia. No idea how to pronounce them. We beat them 6-2. In the fourth round, we faced off against Elche. We beat them 4-1. In the quarterfinals, we faced off against Atletico Madrid, as we know have had a good season. It actually went the whole way to extra time. As you can see, Jude 105 and then Kylian Mbappe on 117. So yeah, this was a close game. And that took us to the semi-finals where we faced off against Atletico Bilbao. In the first leg, we beat them 5-1. In the second leg at home, we then beat them 3-0. So that takes us to the Spanish Cup final, 8-1 on aggregate. Where of course we faced off against Barcelona. Kylian Mbappe from the spot started off the scoring. Then 10 minutes later, we added a second goal through big Jude Bellingham for us to take home the cup and finish this fucking challenge, boys. This is amazing to get this in the bag. It really, really is. Obviously, look, we all know real life is a little harder to win matches than it is in Football Manager, and fucking Carlo Ancelotti has been one of the greatest managers like we've seen. Like, he really is. The hard thing about the Real Madrid job is you're having to control so many egos. I would say it's probably the hard, like, we all know they've got the talent, but you're having to control Kylian Mbappe and Jude Bellingham and Camavinga and Tuchel and Vinicius Jr. Like, there's a lot of really, really big characters in that club, which would probably be the hardest thing to control, because like the talent's there, you just got to put them together, but then you've got to keep them all happy, because let's be honest, they all want to win, they all want to be that guy, and yeah, you got to balance that out, which isn't hard, but like, or which is very, very difficult. But like, this is amazing. 3 seasons in, which means we now have done everything we want to do with this challenge, which means for the next 2 years we can just have a little bit of fun. But obviously, as you know what I do with my rebuilds, I want to fucking win it again. If we could win the Champions, look, this is going to be ridiculous, right? If we can win the league 5 years in a row and the Champions League 5 years in a row, this will be my greatest rebuild ever. Even though, like I said, I know we've got a ridiculous team, but this is all part of the fun, isn't it? When you're doing these challenges, it's meant to be a good time. But let's go and see how we did in the Champions League now that we've got the cup out of the way. So we started things off in the league phase against Qarabag. Don't know who they are, but we beat them 4-0. We then went on to absolutely obliterate PSV, beating them 7-0. Then a team that I do know very, very well, AS Roma, we just did a rebuild with them. If you want to go and check that out, we ended up beating them 2-0. We then somehow managed to draw 2 each away to Salzburg. We then smashed Chelsea 4-1. We then managed to beat Atletico Madrid 2-1. We then smashed Panathinaikos 7-0. And in our final league phase match, we ended up beating Aston Villa 3-0. They had 2 men sent off, one in the 20th minute, one in the 43. So bit of an interesting game for them. But yeah, like I said, if you go to the league phase, we ended up finishing top of the group. Look, I expect us to be in the top 4 teams in here and definitely 100% qualify with how good we are. We're in 22 points. The only other team that was as good as us was Arsenal, but this means we go straight to the round of 16. Where I feel like we got pretty lucky here and got ourselves a pretty good draw. We ended up getting Nice. We beat them 4-1 in the first leg. In the second leg, it wasn't so close. We ended up smashing them 8-0 to win 12-1 in aggregate. Take us to the quarterfinals, where things didn't start off too hot against Man City. They beat us 3-1 in the first leg, but the Bernabeu, we returned to favour, beating them 3-0 for us to go through 4-3 to the Champions League final. Look, Man City is always going to be a hard game. They've got a ridiculous team. In the semi-finals, we ended up drawing Arsenal at the Emirates. We drew them 1 each. We had Nico Williams sent off in the 60th minute, which probably didn't help us. But once again, in the return leg at the Bernabeu, we're unstoppable. We beat them 2-1 to take us to Champions League final, boys. Can we win it 3 years in a row? Where we faced off against Bayern Munich, Kylian Mbappe started off the scoring. They hit back through Jamal Musiala. But in the 98th minute, big Camavinga turned up, scoring an absolute screamer to win us the Champions League. Honestly, this was going to be a close game. We knew this was going to be a close game. It's Bayern Munich, and Jamal Musiala is absolutely disgusting. This kid has got so much talent. The thing I think we all love about Jamal Musiala, look, he's got the talent, but he also works very, very hard in game, which makes him just way harder to play against, because like he's not going to quit. But then, like I said, Kylian Mbappe, but Camavinga, the 98th minute to win us the Champions League. This is fantastic, boys. That means 3 years in a row we've won the Champions League. It's the most I've ever won a Champions League in a rebuild in 5 seasons. And like I said, we still got 2 years to go. Can we go 5-5? If we do, that'll be absolutely disgusting. And like I said, I've been swooping up as much of the young Spanish talent as I can, and a couple of sort of like players from around the world as well. So like when you do take the save on, you're going to have a really, really good team. Obviously, by then, Kylian Mbappe and stuff are going to be like 27, 28, and around there. Sort of, no, I mean, they're getting on in football manager years, but you will have another team behind them that's going to be absolutely disgusting. Our transfer budget for next year is 408 million. I have not hardly spent that much money. Then jumping over into the player performances, big Courtois, unfortunately, doesn't want to sign another contract with us. He wants to explore his options. Look, I understand this. Look, he's been at the club for a long time. He's won absolutely everything, which means next season we're going to need a new goalkeeper. 58 games played, 42 conceded, and 30 clean sheets. He is going to be 36 this year, so like we were going to need to replace him at some point, but I was hoping to keep him around still for a while. Of course, Mark Gahey in to replace Rudiger, played 53 games, 2 goals, 9 assists. The Tau is going to be 30 this year, so like we're going to have to start replacing him at some point. Obviously, we do have good young centre backs at the club. If he wants to go, we do have people to replace him. So he started 55 games, 6 goals, 1 assist. One of the people that can replace him is Mosquera, who I feel is ready to play. He played 25 games, started 25 games, 33 off the bench, 16 goals, 7 assists. But once again, it got to January and I seen Dean Howson wasn't really getting a ton of football, so I did loan him out. It seems to be harder to loan players out in the summer transfer window, and then when it comes around to January, it's an absolute breeze. I wish I could loan him out in the summer transfer window. Like, I keep getting offers from him to be a squad player. I don't want him, if I'm loaning him out, I don't want him to be a squad player, because if he stays here, he's going to be a squad player, so I want him to go somewhere where he's an important player, a regular starter, and so we loaned him out to Rennes. He started 10 games, 2 off the bench. Miguel Gutierrez started 51 games, 1 goal, 15 assists. And his friend on the other side, young Trent Alexander-Arnold, 47 games played, 2 goals, 17 assists. Touche Ameni, 56 games played, 11 goals, 6 assists. Camavinga, 54 games started, 17 goals and 19 assists. So a very, very good season for him. Then, of course, Big Jude in beside him did get a couple of knocks, so didn't start just as many games. I think he missed like about 8 or 9 games. 46 games started, 26 goals and 18 assists. Young Nico then started 10 games, 43 off the bench, so getting a lot of football. 5 goals, 5 assists. Then, of course, big Valverde, 35 games started, 24 off the bench, 13 goals, 17 assists. It's amazing that he's not upset he's spaghetti, because he's a world-class player and he's only starting 30. Granted, 35 games started in a season's really, really good. But like, he's one of those players like you would expect to complain because like he's not starting every game, but like he's happy enough. Who wants him? PSG? Not a chance. Then big Kylian Mbappe, who had a absolute banger of a season. 46 games started, 13 off the bench. 43 goals, 24 assists. What's that? 67? There's no way. That's a crazy amount of goal contributions. 67 goal contributions in 46 games. I know Kylian Mbappe is absolutely wild, but like, that's a good season. Then on the other side with young Nico Williams, 50 games started, 19 goals, 22 assists. Once again, a very, very good season. Then, of course, the big man Vinny up top, 59 games started, 31 goals, 17 assists. All the front three all had a very, very good season. Obviously, Kylian Mbappe with 67 goal contributions was a little wild. But like I said, there's always one out of the 3 that has an absolute banger and the other 2 have good seasons. You can't expect all 3 to have absolute banger seasons. We'd end up scoring like over 200 goals in the league, which, to be honest, I'm here for if we could do that. Let me know, what is the most goals your team has scored in the league in one season? I think about 146, 150 is probably the most I've ever hit. Of course, once again, we do have other people out on loan, which is our young friends, Bouyadidi. He loaned him out, 31 games started, no goals and 1 assist. But like, he's another one. See if he had a little better dribbling and a little better crossing, I would play him as a right back. He would be my Trent replacement down the line, but like, I would need to really, really work on his dribbling. Crossing you can kind of get away with, but like he would need to have at least good dribbling to play fullback. But he may be the Trent replacement down the line because he has all the potential and the ability there to do it. Of course, I also loaned out Mattia Tuno, 32 games started, which is fantastic. The main thing is just getting them football. 5 goals, 1 assist. Young Arda Güler unfortunately didn't start any games. I tried to loan him out and couldn't get him loaned out, which is absolutely wild. He had 14 off the bench, 2 goals, 1 assist. He's one I do want to get some fucking football because he has the potential to be amazing. Of course, then we do also have young Endrick, 24 games started, 27 off the bench, 25 goals and 9 assists. Then also do have big Samuel Meridian, also out on loan once again. Couldn't get him loaned out in the summer, had to wait until January. So we loaned him out to PSV, 23 games started, 8 goals, 3 assists. He's disgusting, like 6'4". He's just a big unit of a man. But all in all, boys, an absolutely fantastic season. Once again, we did the treble. Did it in the first season, just missed out on it in the second season due to the cup, and then in the third season, managed to get the treble in the bag. This team is absolutely wild. Like I said, this, I know I keep saying this, but this is the first time I've had like a really disgusting league. Like, if you look around this team, how many world-class players? These 3 are world-class. The front 3 are world class. I know technically Nico Williams is not set as a world class player, but he is like the potential and like how good he is. Trent and Gutierrez are both absolutely unreal. I wouldn't say any of our 2 are world class, but Courtois obviously a world class keeper. So we have a disgustingly good team. But like I said, I'm excited for the next crop of players to come through. But boys, that is the end of season 3. Let's jump over into season 4. So boys, then moving over into season 4, like I said, there's not really much with the team I want to do. The only person going out is obviously Courtois. As you can see, he's joining the Saudi League at the end of his contract here. So like I said, we're gonna need to get ourselves a new keeper, but we already have somebody at the club who's developing pretty well. And it's this young guy, Oscar Ortega. Obviously, I'm trying to keep, like I said, as much young Spanish players in the team as I can. Obviously, up front, it's a little different. We've got Mbappe and we've got Vinny. One's Brazilian, one's French. I'm not looking to get rid of them too because they're kind of world class. But this young guy, I think we do give a chance in the team. I'm going to lock him in for the season. The amount of money we paid for him is absolutely crazy. It's a lot of cash. It's a total of 69,000. So we bought him 2 seasons ago. Well, obviously like a year and a bit ago now. But look, he was Spanish. He was out of contract. 18 years old. Look, he has some really, really good things. Obviously, he's going to have a lot of flaws. He's only 18-year-old keeper. Most keepers don't hit their prime till they're like mid-20s. So he's got about 7 years to get there. So one thing that jumps out. Already, 18, Spanish, 6'4", can play with both feet, an amazing mentality. Determination is high. Concentration is high. Aggression, don't really think that plays into being a good keeper, but he's got good agility, he's got good balance, his jumping is 15, his natural fitness is good. Command in the area, communication and aerial reach are like 12 and 13, obviously young keeper. 17 handling though, kicking is 14, one-on-ones is 14, reflexes is 15 and throwing is 12. So as you can see over here, look, his aerial and shot stopping are really, really good. Distribution is not far behind. Communication and mental are both good. If this is him at 18, what's he going to be like in maybe 3-4 years? I think this could be our long-term keeper. I am going to have to offer him a new contract though, because when I offered him a contract, he wouldn't take anything less than a minimum fee release clause of 10 million. So if he's going to be our first choice keeper for this year, I'm going to have to give him a new contract and up that. Look, if I'm going to lose my keeper, I want about 60, 70, 80 million for him. Ideally, I'm going to put a release clause in there about 100 million. I don't want to lose him at all because I'd be very annoyed if we lost him for 10. So I just went and offered him a new contract that hasn't went through yet, but the release clause is 113 million. But obviously with Courtois leaving, and I knew this was going to happen. So last year in the purchase signs, I went and got this guy, Lucas Canizares. He's going to be our backup keeper. He's only 25. He's also Spanish, so helps with registration. But he's got a bunch of really, really good traits. Obviously, aerial is really, really good. Shot stopping solid. Communication is solid. He enjoys the big games. He's consistent. He's got a good mentality. So the type of people that we want around the club. And like I said, got him for absolutely nothing. So like, no, I mean, even if he wasn't amazing, there's no loss. We didn't pay anything. But the next one that I brought in on a free was young Xavi Simons. Look, I had to. He was on a free. There was no need for me to get rid of him. So it means that at some point down the line, if we either lose Kylian Mbappe or we lose a Vinicius Jr., we have another world-class midfielder just sitting there chilling, waiting to play. The only thing is that may happen here is he may end up taking the spot of Nico Williams, which honestly I'm kind of okay with. I like a wee bit of competition. It means we would have Xavi Simons on one side, Mbappe on the other side, and Vinny up top, which, I mean, it's not a bad forward line at all. And like I said, once again, he cost absolutely nothing because he was on an approach to sign. He's already worth 90 to 100 million. So, I mean, I think this is probably probably the only place that we could probably make the team stronger. Let me move into some of the players that, like I said, I bought for like a wee bit of money. This is one of them, Kader Dieng. He's 18 years old, Spanish once again. Yeah, so you all know, look, if you've watched any of my rebuilds, you know my love for Esposito, the Inter striker. He's big, strong, physical, really, really good in the air. Look, yeah, this kid's not bad. 17 jumping reach, 13 heading at 18 years old, good with both feet, good mentality, consistent. Yeah, he's also 6'7". Bravery is 18, decision making is 14, composure is 13, determination 15, 16 flair, 15 off the ball. Teamwork, work rate, and vision aren't fantastic. Actually still get decent passing, which is unusual, because usually if they've got terrible vision, they usually don't have great passing. But he's got 15 technique. Look, mental stats and physical stats, of course, are gonna have to come up with time. The only thing I worry about is he's only got 10 stamina. But the good thing is that's something we can work on. If his natural fitness was low, we can't work on that. But because his stamina is low, that's something I can work on with individual training. He's already got 12 strength, so this is one down the line could be good. Obviously, he's not fast. He's got 10 acceleration and 10 pace. But like I said, with having a lot of really, really good positives, you have to have some negatives. Look, he's gonna be that big striker down the line. Obviously, he's not going to be into the team for a while. He needs a wee bit of football. So he's going to go into the under-19s or go into the B teams, whatever one suits him. But this is one, I think, for the future, a really, really good player. Costs us a total of 6.45 million, which is even better because we got him from Atletico Madrid. You know what I mean? There's nothing better than stealing good players from your rivals. And another one I found is a Diego Search. It says he can play centre-back and defensive midfielder. Honestly, once again, he's like one of the players that we have in our youth team. If he had like good dribbling and good first touch, I'll probably play him as like a fullback, which once again, he's only 17. We could train because he has the room to improve. So this is one I may turn into a left back, because the wee kid that we have could be a right back because he's right footed. This guy can play with both feet, so we could play him at left back. And then this gives us two future Spanish fullbacks down the line. But like I said, ideally I need to work on his dribbling and his first touch. Everything else looks really, really good. Determination is good. Anticipation is fucking 16. 19 aggression, 14 bravery, concentration and decision making are 12. Good leadership, which is amazing because we are going to need some future captains down the line. Tackling of 17. Physical stats are pretty decent for a 17-year-old, and like I said, he's got an amazing mentality. He can play with both feet. Costs a total of 9 million, stolen from Valencia. Then I also find this young guy, look, I would love to take a praise and go like, here, I found all these myself. I didn't. The fucking scouts found about three quarters of these players. So I found this young guy. I think this is one that we steal. He's from the Portuguese league, from Sporting. This guy costs us, I may as well show you the price razor. He costs us a total of 14 million. But look, he's got 20 determination. He's got good potential, really, really good mentality, super consistent, can play with both feet. Seems to be a lot of like the regen players who come through can all play with a lot of feet, both of their feet. His physical stats are insane. The only thing that makes his physical stats look a little worse is he's only got 8 strength, but like agility's 15, balance is 14, 15 stamina. Like the rest of them are like 12s and 13s, so pretty good physicals. Then he's got crossing of 13, 14 dribbling, 14 finishing, and 13 first touch. He can play right back. So this is one that we could turn into a right back. Obviously, we play a full back on attack. This would be good because I wouldn't have to train him in a position. He can already cross, he can already dribble, he can finish. The only things we think I would probably have to work on is maybe a little bit of pace. I think he's a little bit slow to play as a full back. But once again, something we can work on with individual training. And probably one of the picks of the bunch that I found is this young German centre back. He costs us a total of 14 million from Schalke. I think that this dude, honestly, joking aside, I may be tempted to bring this guy up into the first team and just start him in beside Milito. Marque, he is absolutely fantastic, but this guy's going to be the future of our backline. The things that jump out, obviously, straight away is, he's 6'4", 17 jumping reach, and 15 heading. His physical stats are insane. Once again, a little slow, but something we can work on because he's already got the aerial, he's got the mental, the defending, the physical. If I can get his speed up to here, if we can get this acceleration up to like 13 or 14, his physical stats are going to be absolutely wild. He's got a great mentality, super consistent, can play with both feet. His work rate is good. Tackling is good. He's got 13 technique. Passing and vision are a little off, and his first touch is shit. But once again, things we can work on with individual training. But I think, honestly, this guy, I'm just going to move him up to the senior team right now. I feel like this is a guy that I start in our first team. And I also find this guy, he costs us a little bit of money because we had to... we had to ban him from the Premiership, and you know English players always get expensive. Costs a total of 21.5 million from Southampton, which honestly I don't think's a lot of money for a player like this. Obviously, I've put him on the loan list. I would like to loan him out at some point. Strasbourg are interested. This is one I probably will loan out. But I think honestly that wee centre back I just showed you, and this guy, could potentially be our two defenders for down the line. This guy, I would say, is a wee bit more well-rounded, but the other guy's probably a wee bit more physical and a wee bit better there, a wee bit more no-nonsense. This guy would be a wee bit more of like a ball-playing defender. Once again, 6'4", can play with both feet. He's got a good mentality. He's only 18 years old. English. Look, 17 tackling, 16 technique. Determination is good. Mental stats are good. Leadership's 4, so he may not be a captain for us at some point, but decent teamwork. Good work rate. Physical stats are good. Natural fitness is a little low. Once again, unfortunately, this is something we can't work on with individual training. But look, all in all, for like 20 odd million, I think this guy's fantastic, but one I think I will loan out for the season. And then the last one I brought in was David De Binder. There is a couple of other wonder kids I would really like to bring in. One of them is a disgusting like inside forward, but they want like 72 million for him and he's only 19, and I'm like, I don't want to. I'm trying to like bring in players at reasonable prices, but then at some point I am gonna have to pay a ridiculous price because he has a release clause and they won't take anything less than the release clause. But he's absolutely disgusting, and I'm like, yeah, just go and pay the money and then just loan him out for a couple of seasons. I'm undecided. I may do that in January. I'm not too sure yet. Look, we have the money. If I go over to the scouting thing, we've 442 million to spend, and I'm not spending any of it. But anyway, this guy is probably more than likely going to be a replacement for Tuchel down the line. He's 17 years old. He's Dutch. 6'4", can play with both feet, amazing mentality, physical stats are absolutely insane. He's got good balance, jumping reach is good, natural fitness once again a little low at 11, but like we can't really do a lot about it. High determination at 17, passing of 16. He's one of those ones, once again, he's got good tackling, good technique, good passing, marking a little lower, but like I said, once again, he's only 17 years old. Yeah, he's one that costs us like a total of 29 million, which all in all, look, I still feel is really good money for players that have like really high potential. I don't mind paying a wee bit of money. We'll obviously have to wait and see down the line. Is our 29 million worth a good player? But look, we'll not know for a couple of seasons. He's just still very young, but like the future looks good. So then moving over into the 4th season, look, this is probably what the team more than likely is going to look like. Ortega in nets. I just want to give him a chance. I think he's going to be absolutely unreal. Gutierrez on one side, Trent on the other side, Militao in the middle, along with that young little German centre back. Look, I want to give this kid time. I honestly feel if we give him a couple of years of football, he's going to be world class. Like, he's only a 2-star. He gets the 4, twice as good as this. Obviously, that doesn't mean they're going to get twice as good as this, but you know what I mean? His stats are going to massively improve. Him in there, midfield doesn't change. Tuchel, Camavinga, Bellingham, Mbappe, and Vinicius Jr. And then, like I said, Xavi Simons will more than likely take the place of Nico Williams. Them two will interchange and just get a lot of football. But I'm interested to see what the assistant manager will change in this team. So obviously, he's done the 2 things that we know he was going to do. 1, he's took the little centre back out, and 2, he's changed their keeper. But unfortunately, Courtois will not be here soon because he's leaving to go to the Saudi League. So all in all, look, nothing has changed. It means the only people I have to lock in is the keeper and the young centre back, and everybody else can just play. So boys, that is going to be it for the start of season 4. Obviously, I'm not going to bring these back in January, and never do. I like just keeping the January signings until the transfer window and September, or the summer transfer window, so we can look at them all together. Obviously, I would love a really good youth intake. We're into our 4th year, and oh yes, let's go back and look at the wee guy that we got at the start. He had a terrible mentality, but I don't know if it's changed or not. So as you can see, look, we're a couple seasons in, it hasn't changed. It's still dark red. He's honestly not progressing that much. I don't know if that's down to like the bad mentality thing, because he has been in the under-19s for a couple of seasons. No, I mean, obviously we've got good coaches. Everybody else who's got a good mentality is increasing. He just doesn't seem to be getting any better, which is unfortunate because he's the only one out of the youth intake that we've got. If he had a good mentality, I would say by now he'd be pushing to sort of like come into the first team, but because of his shit mentality, he's just not good enough yet. But boys, that's enough messing about. Let's go play season 4. Boys, we're at the end of season 4. Obviously, if we're here, the youth intake was not great. But look, I just want us to keep doing what we're doing. I want to win the Champions League again. That's the main thing. Winning the league and the Champions League is going to be the main things going into 4 and 5 seasons. I want to try and get those as many times as possible. Let's jump over, see how we did in the league first. We started things off with a fantastic 2-1 win over Barcelona. Then smashed Valencia 4-0. Then beat Atletico Madrid 2-1. And made a nice 3-1 win over Villarreal. So boys, with all those fantastic results, 4 years in a row. Look, like I say every season, we know this team is going to be dominant. We really do. But obviously, doing what we did this season, this is probably like our best season points so far. 38 games played, 37 wins, only 1 draw, 0 defeats, 135 goal difference, and 112 points. As you can see, Barcelona pretty close in behind us. I know we're still a decent amount of points ahead of them, but like they're pushing 100 points as well, which shows you how well we played. Atletico Madrid fell off a wee bit from last year, but still all in all a good season for them. Kylian Mbappe only managed to get 26 goals in the league this year, the bloody slacker. Raul Garcia and Jalgard. Honestly, he's pretty decent. 30 goals, did pretty well for the season. But like, I would expect Kylian Mbappe to be the top of this every year. Mbappe, Vinicius Jr. in there for average ratings. We have Trent with 27 assists, Kylian Mbappe with 22 assists, Vinicius with 14. Trent is surprisingly top of the yellow cards. Don't say that too often. And then our young keeper, Oscar Ortega, 15 clean sheets, a wee bit behind Sturgeon. But look, he's a young, inexperienced keeper in his first season. 15 clean sheets is pretty solid. And of course, we have Kylian Mbappe in there for player of the matches. So stats overall, I'm expecting us to score a decent amount of goals. So most points per game, we had 2.95, a decent part ahead. We scored 167 goals, which is absolutely wild. Obviously, he is bringing in Xavi Simons is a wee bit of an upgrade on Nico Williams, so that's probably helped us score a few goals as well. Those shots for, we can't get anywhere. I want to break 1,000. I really, really want to break 1,000 before we finish this. Fewest shots against is surprisingly us. Most clean sheets. Barcelona had 25. We had 16. Fewest goals conceded. We did concede a wee bit more than we usually do, but we're usually in and around that sort of like 26 to 28 mark. So it's only like 4 or 6 goals more. Barcelona did well, 20 clean sheets. We were in there with 32. Look, we conceded 32 goals, scored 167. I would say all in all, boys, we did pretty well this year. And look, this is just getting worse every year over here. At one point, we would need 2 more seasons to push Barcelona out of here. But at some point, yeah, it's just going to be Real Madrid in here. So we start things off in the Spanish Cup third round against Alcorcon. Could be how you pronounce it, who knows. We beat them 8-2. And in the fourth round, we smashed some other team that nobody knows who they are, 5-0. And that moved us on to the quarterfinals where we faced off against Coruña. This is actually Deportivo La Coruña, right? I don't know, is it a football manager thing? Did they just not have the rights to the name, or did they change their name? Because no way it happens. You used to have Sporting Lisbon, they're now Sporting CF and all that sort of stuff. So somebody who knows a wee bit more about Spanish football, leave in the comments down below. But I know this is Deportivo La Coruña, right? Because of their badge, or am I looking at this wrong? Anyway, smashed them 4-1. Then that took us on to the semi-final first leg against Mallorca. We beat them 4-1. The second leg, we beat them 5-0 to go through to the final 9-1. We did pretty well there. Where we faced off against Vallecano, we actually started off with scoring through Vinicius Jr. Actually, just lied to you, it was Endrick. And Endrick got a second goal. Look, I'm so used to Vinicius scoring, it's always him. But then our young centre-back made a 3-0. Then Nico Williams made a 4. Young Endrick / Vinicius Jr. got himself a hat-trick, a nice ball in from Mbappe. And to end things off in the 87th minute, Valverde got a goal for us to win the cup 6-0. Boys, this is fantastic. Look, I know the cup, everybody's like, you're winning the Champions League, but look, all trophies are important for me in rebuilds. We've won the league, we've won the cup, and like I said, I don't want to keep repeating this, but like, we know we're going to smash the fuck out of people. This has been so much fun because I don't get a chance to play with like crazy strong teams. I'm not going to lie, boys, I can see people's addictions on why they enjoy just smashing people with big teams all the time, but that is the league in the bag, the cup in the bag. Let's move over to the Champions League. We start things off against Chelsea in the league phase, drawing with them 2-each at Stamford Bridge. And we absolutely obliterated Barcelona's 5-1. We then went on to smash Panathinaikos 7-0. AZ 5-1. Liverpool 4-1. AC Milan 3-1. Then we slapped up Monaco 6-1. Then on our final league phase match, we beat BRG 4-0, which means more than likely, yeah, I was going to say we probably finished top because we had fucking 8 played, 7 wins, 1 draw. 29 goal difference. Like I said, Arsenal once again right in there behind us, which shows Arsenal do have a good team. City, Atletico Madrid did great. Sevilla surprisingly in there. PSG, Juventus and Barcelona. So Liverpool not in there surprisingly. It's a little strange. Chelsea, with the team that they have, I would expect to do better. Bayern, Newcastle, Inter, fucking AC Milan's the whole way down here. The main important thing is that we go through. Obviously, with us being in the top 8, we miss the knockouts and go straight to the round of 16. We faced off against Benfica. We beat them 2-0 in the first leg. Then took them back to the Bernabeu and beat them 3-1. So that means we go through 5-1 to the quarterfinals. Where we faced off against Man City at the Bernabeu. We beat them 3-2, but obviously we expect this to go well. They also have Florian Wirtz, which is absolutely insane. In the second leg at the Etihad, we beat them 2-1 to go through 5-3 in aggregate to the semi-finals. Where we faced off against their old nemesis Arsenal. We seem to get them quite a lot. We beat them 2-0 at the Emirates. Then they returned to favour to Bernabeu, beating us 2-1. Lucky enough, we scored a goal to go through 3-2 in aggregate. So boys, we're in another Champions League final, where for the second year in a row we faced off against Bayern. Our young wonder kid started off the scoring from a corner. A mistake from them led us in for Kylian Mbappe to make it 2. Then a mistake from us let them in for Tell to score a goal to make it 2-1. Camavinga then made it 3. And to finish things off in the 80th minute, it wouldn't be a Real Madrid win without a Vinicius Jr. goal for us to win 4-1. Boys, this is what I'm talking about. Unlimited dominance. I feel like we're like the football team that's like the Avengers. We're just so strong. Nobody can stop us. But this is like I said, this is the fun at the minute. FM24 has been going for a long time. We're just trying to make things as fun as possible. And this has been a lot of fun. But like, we are slapping people. So then with regards to the player performances, obviously move on to the keeper first. Young Ortega did 60 games. Obviously I locked him in for the season. Conceded 48, which isn't bad. 25 clean sheets. Like I said, he's got some green arrows going up, showing that he's improving. Surprisingly, Gutierrez had a wee bit of a quiet season. Played 49 games, 2 goals, 9 assists. So only 11 goal involvements in 49 games, which not like him. Then the big man on the other side, Trent Alexander-Arnold, 49 games played, 4 goals, 38 assists. So we had 42 goal involvements in 49 games. Like I said, it's usually one plays great and the other one's pretty quiet. It's hard to get both of your fullbacks firing at the same time. Same with your strikers. Like, one's always going to do better than the other. Of course, we have Militao, 56 games played, 5 goals and 6 assists. A pretty good season for him. Pushing 31, so at some point we may have to try and cash in on him. In Mark Gahey, surprisingly only played 20 games, 38 off the bench, 4 goals, 3 assists. Who wants him? Man City and Lazio. Then obviously I locked in our young Mitchell Sheffershak. I've just started calling him Chef. 56 games played because I locked him in. 25 goals he scored. Obviously, more than likely all from corners, and then he also had 4 assists. At 6'4" with 17 jumping range, he's going to be an absolute menace from corners. You've seen in the replays, he looks massive compared to everybody else when he starts jumping. But like 25 goals for a centre back's pretty wild. Masquero, I loaned out for the season, 38 games played, 2 goals, 2 assists. I wanted to get him some football. Same of course with Dean Howson. He played 50 games, no goals, but got 4 assists. Then the young wee English centre back that we just bought, I loaned him out as well to Strasbourg. 35 games played, no goals, 1 assist. He's looking very, very good. And of course, the big man, Toshia Mene, 51 games played, 5 goals, 9 assists. Camavinga, 45 games played, 21 goals and 14 assists. Bellingham once again had a really, really good season. 50 games played, 22 goals, 21 assists. I was very interested to see how Xavi Simons would play in this position, in this team. 53 games played, 16 goals and 22 assists. Not bad for his first season. And Kylian Mbappe on the other side, 43 games played, 37 goals, 37 assists. So what's that, like 74 goal involvements in 43 games? I thought last year, what did he get, like 67 or something? I thought that was wild. He just went and did better this season. Look, obviously we expect him to play well. He's playing in the position that he loves to play in, and he's absolutely ridiculous. His pace alone, the 20 acceleration and 20 pace, just gets him round people so fast. But 37 goals and 37 assists is pretty wild. And of course, we do have young Vinny, 55 games played, 40 goals, 22 assists. He had a 7.62 for the season. He also only has 1 year left on his contract, and he doesn't want to sign another contract. He came to me and he said that he wants to explore his options after this, so we may end up losing Vinny. Of course, in the summer, I'm going to try and give him another contract and just see what happens. I don't want to lose him. I love Vinicius Jr. And he's still only 27 years old and he's world class. I don't want to lose him because replacing him is going to be difficult. We, of course, then have Nico, who's just covering all the positions in midfield, but he seems happy enough. Started 7 games, 30 off the bench, 6 goals, 8 assists. Big Valverde played 22 games, starting 37 off the bench, 12 goals and 9 assists. And young Gilly Fernandez is one I was able to loan out in January. Couldn't get him loaned out in the summer for some reason, but got him loaned out to mains in January. 18 games started, 2 goals, 1 assist. He is one I want to get firing because he's Spanish. We stole him from Barcelona, which makes it even more fun. But he does have potential, but I need to get him football. I'm trying to get him loaned out. Trying to loan out so many players is a bit of a nightmare. Then, of course, our young French centre midfielder that I would like to turn into a right back. I loaned him out to BRG for the season. 45 games played, 4 goals, 4 assists. Look, it says he could still improve a lot. Honestly, I don't think he'll hit world class, but he's fucking pretty good. And of course, young Nico Williams, 28 games started, 28 off the bench, 18 goals, 16 assists. Once again, a really good season for him. Then young Mastia Tuno, I was able to loan him out in January to Borussia Dortmund. 19 games started, 17 off the bench, 8 goals, 2 assists. Arda Güler is another one I was actually able to loan out to Girona for the entire season, because once again, has a ton of potential, needs football though. 38 games started, 4 off the bench, 7 goals, 7 assists. Endrick, another one that always does really, really well. 28 games started, 18 off the bench, 39 fucking goals, and 5 assists. Then big Samu Omaridian, 24 games started. I end up loaning him out to Feyenoord for the season. 13 off the bench, 16 goals, and 2 assists. Then, of course, the young wonder kid that we have, the one that's like 6'7", that's very Esposito-esque. I was able to loan him out to, I think it was, Stade Brestos. I'm not gonna lie, I don't know who they are. But he only started 1 game, which is kind of disappointing, because this kid, honestly, you know my love for big physical players, especially up top. I would like him to have got a wee bit more football in the summer. But all in all, boys, look, we have absolutely nothing to complain about. We had a absolutely amazing season. Once again, did the treble, did everything we were meant to do, scored a ton of goals, didn't really concede a lot. Honestly, the big standout was probably this kid, the young centre-back. 25 goals from a centre-back is absolutely insane. Like I said, in his development, I am currently working on his ball playing and defender, and then his quickness, because like I said, I think he only had, 10 or 11 acceleration. His pace is solid. It's just his acceleration, and I don't need to work on his aerial. He's 17 and 16 at 6'4". The rest of his game, I could probably work on his first touch and dribble a little bit, but I would like him to be a little bit quicker, because he's fucking very good all around. If I can get his quickness, if I can get his up to 14, acceleration up to 14, I'll be happy. But the rest of his game is brilliant, and he's an absolute menace in the air. He's only just going to get better, and that's pretty scary for everybody else, not for us. Boys, that is the end of Season 4. Once again, like I said, we just did everything we needed to do. But I have signed a few young players. Obviously, I'm just going to keep doing that every season, because we still have a transfer budget of 540 million this year. There's no need for me to spend money. And this is a great thing about taking over Real Madrid. You already have a fucking disgusting team, and the players that we've brought in, Xavi Simons, got him on a free. The young kid, had to pay a wee bit of money for him, but it is what it is. Gutierrez got him for 3.6 million or whatever it was. Trent was already here on a free transfer. So and then Mbappe was signed on a free transfer. So we have a disgusting team that didn't cost a lot of money. Obviously, people like Jude and all were very expensive, but the last season or so, they haven't really spent a ton of cash, and I've hardly spent, and I'm spending wee bits here and wee bits there. But we do have a few exciting young players coming in the summer. But boys, that's enough for Season 4. Let's jump into Season 5. So boys, the 5th and final season, we did have a few bigger players kind of leave. You probably know who one of them's going to be, but I think we replaced them pretty well. One of the first people out the door was Valverde. He wanted to leave, go and get first team football. I'm honestly kind of okay with that. And he was in the last year of his contract. Didn't really have much interest in signing the new contract. So we sold him on to PSG. He's also going to be 31 this year. Got a total of 85 million, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. But he is a world-class midfielder, so it kind of makes sense. The next one out the door was Mark Gahey, one I didn't want to sell, but Juventus come in and activated his 60 million release clause. So he's out the door. But here's the way we have to look at it. We got him for free, sold him on for 60 million. We made a massive profit. Not that we need the money, but look, if you're going to sell players, at least get good cash for them. And then another one who went out the door was Eder Militao. We were talking about this one. Look, he's going to be 31, and we got a pretty good offer for him. A total of 74 million, which I think is crazy. Like I said, he wanted to go. I don't blame him. He's getting 1.4 million pound a week. Look, it's kind of hard to turn that money down when you're near the end of your career. And the big one out the door was going to be Vinicius Jr. Like I said previously, he didn't want to sign a new contract, so he wanted to go to a different club. That club he chose, it was between Liverpool, PSG, Man City, Bayern, and Inter. So we ended up choosing Liverpool overall. Look, Vinny has been absolutely fantastic for us. We did get some good cash for him. A total of 146 million. Look, he's been at Real Madrid. We got him for 40 million. We basically made 106 million pound in profit, and he helped us win a ton of trophies. So Vinny, appreciate all the help and support, bro. I would say enjoy your time at Liverpool, but I'm a Man United supporter. I can't do it, boys. So you'll probably vaguely remember me talking last season about the kid that was really, really good, but he was worth a lot of money. And it's this guy, Adam Merkak. As you can see, look, he's only 19. He's Hungarian, probably the best Hungarian player to ever grace the planet. I don't know if there's been anybody better, but this kid's about to be ridiculous. You can see 19. Look, he's got 20 determination, 16 decisions, 14 composure, 16 anticipation, 17 flair, 16 vision, 14 work rate. His technique is 16. His passing is 16. 14 first touch, 16 dribbling, 13 corners. Physical stats are wild. He's got fucking 14 strength, 5'11", play reasonably well with both feet, got an amazing mentality, super consistent. We did have to pay a total of 62 million for him. Juventus paid 12.7, and then we bought him for 62. So that, yeah, they get a pretty good deal out of that. They made a profit of like 40 plus million. Obviously, they don't want to lose one of their good young stars, but yeah, I stole them. Another one I brought in that I think is going to be absolutely fantastic is this guy, Radavoje Jovanic. Serbian. Look, I think he did his name pretty well. Obviously, got a ton of potential. Still a lot of room to improve. He's only 19. Can play reasonably well with both feet, but he's super consistent. Got a good mentality. Look, technical stats are absolutely insane. Mentals are very, very good, and physicals are also very, very good. He's pretty good all round. The only thing that's kind of letting him down a little bit is his bravery and aggression. That's the things that make his mentals look worse than they are. I don't understand. 90% of his mentals are fucking brilliant. It should be like well up here. Like just because one's 5 and one's 10 shouldn't drop it the whole way down there. Physicals are insane. Look, he's not fast. 12 acceleration and 13 pace, but he's going to play through the middle of the park. He's going to be like our replacements for either Jude or for Camavinga down the line whenever they decide to leave or retire or whatever. He's only 19, and if this is what he's like at 19, he's going to be really, really good. We also stole him for 4.7 million, which I think is an absolute steal. Then we were also able to find this one guy. I actually found this guy. It wasn't the scouts. I am currently in the process of trying to get him loaned out. As you can see, there's a bid in for him already. So this guy costs us a total of 7.5 million. Look, really, really good. Like, he's a little inconsistent, a little one-footed, but like I said, you're also going to need squad players at some point. Everybody can't be like a 10 out of 10 world-class player. You're going to need people to play as squad players. I think this guy has the potential to be very, very good. But look, if he's not amazing, we get a squad player. He didn't cost us a ton of money. He's got good dribbling, good first touch. Heading is surprisingly very, very good, but he's got 7 jumping rates. So, like, not going to jump, but if the ball comes his head, he's going to be good. He's an absolute flam machine. Physicals are very, very good. Then the next one I brought in is this guy, Fernando Quinones. Don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but look, first things first, amazing mentality. He's only 18 years old. Play reasonably well with both feet. Good finishing, good first touch, good passing, good technique. Mentals need a little bit of work, but he's only 18 years old. Good work rate off the ball is fantastic. Flair is good, determination good, decision making, composure, anticipation, good aggression. Need to work on his balance. I never understand this in Football Manager, right? They've 15 acceleration, they've got good pace, 15 agility, and then you've got 10 balance. It never makes sense. If you're really, really good at dribbling and like your agility is good, you think your balance would be good. But look, we paid a total of 12 million for him. He had a release clause, couldn't really do anything about it. But this is another one. Has a lot of potential. Then we found this guy, which is very surprising. He was playing for Hibs in Scotland. Look, I don't know. Football Manager's wild. Look, he does have a couple of downsides. Look, a little inconsistent, a little one-footed. But look, he's 18 years old. Scottish, you paid a total of 9 million for him. He has amazing work rate, good teamwork, good positioning. Look, if this guy progresses, he's a 2-star right now. It says 4 to 5 star. Even if he gets a little bit better than this, he could be the new Tuchel. Obviously, we've got a couple of really, really good defensive midfielders at the club. But once again, I don't know, down the line, whoever takes on the save, you might want to play 2 defensive midfielders. You're going to have a lot of options. And like I said, it's not a ton of money. I think it's better for him playing for Real Madrid than it is for Hibs. But he is actually disgustingly good. And if he progresses a little bit, we could have a real good player on our hands. So this is what the team is going to look like for Season 5. You may notice a few changes and you're like, Mark, we haven't replaced Vinicius Jr. You're right, I haven't. Because I'm actually going to put this guy up top. The wee guy, Cater Diang. Look, I know people are going to be like, Mark, he's nowhere near as good as Vinicius Jr. You're right, he's not. But you know how good big physical players are in FM. 6'7", 17 jumping reach, 14 heading. And he has potential, but we need to play him to get him to reach that potential. And he's got a good mentality, super consistent, and can play with both feet. I think this dude's going to be absolutely disgusting. Like I said, we have Ortega, and that's the wee young keeper progressing a wee bit slowly. Like, he's got a couple of green arrows going up here now. Look, I don't expect him to go from, like, I don't know, a wonder kid up to Courtois level in 2 seasons. This is one that's going to be a wee bit of a slow burn. I don't think he's going to hit his peak probably till about 25 or 26. But look at him now. At 19, he's already very, very good. Then in the back line, Big Chef. I should probably just change his name to Big Chef at this point because I'm not going to try and pronounce his whole name. I'm sorry, dude. I'm just not good with words, all right? Look, scored 25 goals last year from corners, which is absolutely wild. Yeah, he's progressing very, very well. Like I said, if we can get his acceleration to 14 or 15, 15 would be amazing. Because if he had 15 acceleration and 15 pace, he wouldn't really have any weaknesses apart from not being a really good ball playing defender. But as an actual defender, he'll be disgustingly good. He will be world class. And then in beside him, I am going to play Stambridge. I feel like it's just time to give Stambridge a wee bit of a chance. I feel like this dude could also be very, very good as well. Once again, needs a wee bit of time. But we are also going to have, whereas Mosquero and Howson in here. So I'm just going to, the only person I'm going to lock in is going to be probably Stambridge. I feel like this guy's going to play, but obviously we need to check and see what the assistant manager's going to do. I've already loaned out our wee defensive midfielder. Our other, this is I honestly feel like this is the guy that can replace Trent. We've loaned him out to Newcastle. I'm going to keep away on this. I have the ability to be able to pull him back from loan. I've started putting that into all the loan contracts now. So if they don't play, I can put him back. I honestly believe this is the guy that's going to play right back for us whenever Trent's 29 now. So it's only a matter of time when he hits 30. You know, it's like football manager. At 30, you're dead. Joking aside, but I feel like this is the guy that will probably more likely replace him. Then on top of that, I've also loaned out Maste Tuno. I've loaned out Arda Güler. I'm just going to let Meridian stay because I feel like Deng is going to need a wee bit of competition. So let's see what the assistant manager would pick. Honestly, he doesn't change too much. He keeps him in. Right. The only person I'm going to lock in is going to be Stambridge, and I'm going to have to lock in Deng. The rest of these are all happy enough to play. So it means the team going into season 5, the people that are locked in is just going to be this. It's nice. If you only have to lock in 2 people into your team, it's great. Ideally, lock in 0 in because then you keep everybody fresh. Look, will this probably hold us back? Our team's probably a little weaker, especially up top. I feel like the back line were good. The 2 young kids that are going to play at centre back are very, very good. And then Dang up top, like I said, not as good as Vinicius Jr., obviously, but has the potential to be unreal. And I feel like if we don't play him, we're just going to do the team a disjustice. We've already won the league 4 times. We won the Champions League 4 times. We won the Cup, 2 or 3 times now? I think 3. So like we're doing good with this rebuild. We're at that point now. I feel like we can take a wee bit of a risk. Also, we have 824 million in the bank, because like I said, once again, I sold a lot of people for big money this summer and haven't really spent a lot. But boys, that's enough messing about. Let's go play season 5. So boys, we're at the end of season 5, as you can tell. Yeah, youth intake wasn't great. It was a star and a half. We are Real Madrid, one of the greatest Spanish clubs ever. 4.5 to 5-star youth recruitment, and we're getting a fucking star and a half. I'm fine. Everything's fine. But look, goals for this season, obviously, just keep kicking ass and doing what we're doing. So let's go see how we did in the league. We started things off with a fantastic 5-1 win over Valencia. We give Barcelona a good slapping 5-0. This is a good result for us. We somehow managed to lose 2-0 to Villarreal. But on the plus side, we beat Barcelona again 2-1. And we finished things off with a fantastic 5-0 win over Atletico Madrid. Which means, boys, we are 5 for 5. 5 years, 5 titles. This is exactly what I want. Look, did I expect this? I was thinking we would have won at least 3 or 4 out of the 5 years. I didn't think we were going to just absolutely dominate every year, but I'm pretty happy with this. 38 played, 32 wins, 4 draws, 2 losses, 115 goal difference, and 100 points. And like we were 17 points ahead of Barcelona, and then they're massively ahead of Valencia, and then everybody else just kind of tapers off. But this makes me probably the happiest out of them all. Our young Kader Kining, the young Spanish striker, top of the goal scoring charts, 25, Mbappe with 24, Jude with 20 from midfield, which is good. Kylian, Jude, and Xavi Simons in there for the average ratings, and then Kylian and Mbappe surprisingly in there top for assists, and then Xavi Simons, which is kind of weird because it means Trent and Gutierrez have just, I don't know, not really got a lot of assists. But then the thing you've got to understand is they're fullbacks, so they're probably running up the wing, passing the ball into Xavi Simons or Kylian Mbappe, then they're laying it off to the striker. So like they're involved, but they're just not getting the assists. And as long as their average ratings are high, you don't really mind. Tchouaméni's in there for yellow cards. He's fucking 3rd. You know the rule. If you get yellow cards, my team at least be 1st on the list. Atriga up there with the most clean sheets for the season, and Mbappe most player of the matches. And if we go up to the season overall stats, most points per game is obviously us. We scored 140 goals. Barcelona pretty close in there with 97. Most shots for. We look, I don't know if it's possible to get over 1,000 shots in the season, but like I really wanted to try. We got close one season. What was it, like 960 something? Fewest shots against is us, 232. Most clean sheets, 23. Barcelona with 20, and then the fewest conceded is us with 25. We conceded what, 35, 36 last season, so that's a vast improvement. 25 conceded, 140 scored. This is fantastic. Look, this has been a lot of fun, but how did we do in the cup? So we started things off in the third round with a very, very close game against Zamora. We beat them 8-0. Then we had another very close game in the fourth round against Avilés. We beat them 11-0, so that's 19 goals we scored in 2 games. And then in the quarterfinals, we played some random team I've never heard of, but we beat them 4-1. Which then took us to the semi-final first leg against Tenerife. We beat them 5-0. The second leg didn't go any better for them. They get beat 5-1, so it was 10-1 in aggregate, which takes us to another Spanish Cup final against Barcelona, where we started off the scoring with our young wonder kid Ding. He's so big in game, look at the size of him. Then added a second to make it 2-0. A mistake from Barcelona let us in for Camavinga to get another one to make it 3. They got one back in the 50th minute with an OG from Touche Meni. In the 60th minute, we got another goal from our young Gilly Fernandez to bring the cup home 4-1, boys. But again, we are superior. Look, we've built an absolutely fantastic team, and I'm happy that Dang is getting a bunch of goals. Obviously, he scored a lot. He was the top goal scorer in the league as well, so it'll be interesting to see how many goals he got. That's enough messing about with that, boys. Let's go see how we did in the Champions League. So we started things off in the league phase against Inter Milan. We beat them 3-2. We then beat Lazio 3-0. We smashed AEK 6-0. We then drew 0-0 with Borussia Dortmund. We actually had a man sent off as well, which probably didn't help us. We then beat Arsenal at the Emirates 4-2. We beat Sevilla 3-1. We then smashed Red Star Belgrade 8-2. See, I remembered their name this time. And on our final league phase match, we ended up beating BRG 5-1. So if we go to the league phase, as you can see, we ended up finishing second. Look, all in all, pretty good. Man City went 8 for 8. They had played 8, won 8, so like it's fair that they're top. We only dropped a little bit of points. We dropped 2 points, so we're 2 points behind them. All in all, look, Man City have a fantastic team. But that means, boys, we move on to the round of 16. We faced off against Newcastle in the first leg. We beat them 2-1 at St James's Park. At the Bernabeu, then we smashed them 3-0 to win 5-1 in aggregate. Our young wonder kid striker got himself a hat-trick. Which means, boys, we move on to the quarterfinals. We faced off against PSG. We actually started off the scoring through young Nico Williams. Then got a second through a Marquinhos OG. And then to finish things off to win 3-0 in the night, our young wonder kid striker got himself on the score sheet. Oh, what a strike. Going into the second leg, we had a really, really good lead, but they started off the scoring with a terrible mistake from us. They got another one 2 minutes later. Just on half time, they added a third. We got one back just after half time through big Jude Bellingham. 2 minutes later, Jude got a second. Then right at the end of the full time, we let them in to get another goal, which took us to extra time, where they scored again. Don't know what our keeper was doing. We also had a man sent off at this point. They then took advantage of the man and started whooping us. They got another one to make it their 6th. Unfortunately, this is where we just absolutely fell apart, and I was like, right, what happened? I was getting the man sent off. It was in the 93rd minute, so I don't really worry about that. But then going in the extra time, they scored 3 in extra time. But I was looking at the team and I was like, right, we've played PSG. We beat them 3-0 in the first leg. What happened? Yeah, I don't know what team the assistant manager put out. So we have Masquera who doesn't start. Such is the young left back who's in the under 19s. Nico Williams obviously doesn't start anymore. Gilly Fernandez doesn't start. Touche Meni does start. Cater starts. Jude starts. Merkak doesn't start, so Gutierrez, Mbappe, and Endrick and Xavi Simons were all just sitting on the bench. I don't understand this from the assistant manager. Look, no excuses. We've had a fantastic rid of Tower. We've been to 4 Champions League finals, and then unfortunately get put out in the quarterfinals. Look, obviously, us playing a bunch of younger players, did it hinder us? Maybe a little bit, but I just feel like the assistant manager put out a team that was just horrendous against one of the best teams in the game. Like, you can't do that against fucking PSG. They're just going to absolutely slap you. But all in all, boys, I'm very, very happy with the season. We won the league, won the cup. We did the quarterfinals of the Champions League. It is unfortunate. When I seen this scoreline come up after us beating them 3-0 and then they beat us 7-2, I was like, something had to go horribly wrong. Boys, you know me. Look, I don't make excuses. It's just, they were the better team on the night. But just like, I don't know what our team... Like, we had a game in between those 2 games, right? The assistant manager should have been resting everybody. We were massively ahead in the league, so rest everybody for the... Put out all the fucking randoms on for the league game. Keep everybody fresh for the second PSG game. And just put out your strongest team. It's the Champions League. The league we were running away with, we didn't need to worry about. But look, It is what it is. Sometimes you're just going to get slapped. It is what it is. I'm a little upset, but I'm not going to lie. I wanted to go 5 for 5 in the Champions League. I really wanted to try and win it 5 years in a row. But look, our young keeper, Oscar Artriga, looks fucking disgustingly good now. Played 50 games, conceded 42, 28 clean sheets. I would say he's pretty close to his max, because as you can see, he could improve slightly. So this is probably him at his max, but all in all, a really good keeper. Then Big Chef played 43 games, 3 off the bench, only get 5 goals and 4 assists, considering he scored 25 goals last year. Yeah, he's also looking disgusting, and he's also set now as a world-class defender. Like I said, I'm still working on his quickness and all that, but I don't think we're going to get much further because he's close to his full potential. So look, he's at 13 acceleration and 16 pace. I'm very, very happy with it, and he's disgusting in the air and 6'4". This is probably one of our best purchases for 14 million. Like, this dude's amazing. And of course, Big Stambridge in beside him played 56 games, but he gets 16 goals and 1 assist. So the corners must have been going mostly towards him. Look, I don't care who scores as long as we're scoring, but he's another one, could improve significantly, so he could get a lot better than this. But like, we have 2 very, very good centre backs now. In Big Mosquero started 12 games, 37 off the bench, 4 goals, 1 assist. Dean Howson unfortunately only started 1 game. I couldn't get him out on loan. I don't know what it is. Like, I just couldn't get him out on loan. He had 10 off the bench, 1 goal. Gutierrez 52 games started, 2 goals, 16 assists. Trent on the other side, 53 games started, 4 goals, 30 assists. He must have gotten most of his in the Spanish first division. He gets 17. Oh, that's right, because the lowest in there was 20, wasn't it? So he was just outside being in the top 3 for assists. Imagine having 17 assists in the league and still not breaking into the top 3, but 30 assists overall. A really good season for Trent. In Big Touche Mane, of course, playing in defensive midfield, 50 games started, 10 goals, 13 assists. Camavinga, 47 games started, 19 goals, 19 assists. Jude in beside him had an absolute banger of a season, 54 games started, 32 goals and 27 assists. So 59 goal involvements in 54 games. Look, I know Jude's world class and he's unreal, but like, that's still a crazy amount. And of course, young Xavi Simons actually ended up getting injured right at the end of the season. 49 games started, 15 goals, 24 assists. Really good season for him. Mbappe, once again, having another banger season. I don't think he's going to have as good as he had last year, because that was unreal. 50 games started, 39 goals and 24 assists, and a 7.75 for the season. Look, I don't know how I feel about Kylian Mbappe in real life. Like, I'm not too sure. I don't know how I feel about him. But like, in this save, he's unreal. And of course, the big man Deng up top, 51 games started, 38 goals, 4 assists, and a 7.35 this season. And look at all those green arrows going up, which is absolutely fantastic. He may have the potential to be world class. I don't know. Obviously, you would need a couple more seasons. So when you take the save on, because like I said, the save file, corner routine, the tactic, and the updated database will all be in the pinned comments when this video goes live. So you can go pick it up for free, play along. You're going to have a disgusting first team, and then just a plethora of really, really good wonder kids. And this is one of them. I honestly believe this kid can be world class. We do also have this young guy as well, Andrea Guta, a young Romanian centre back. He could possibly play as DM as well. Probably, if you had to retrain him, but we've enough really good defensive midfielders in the team. One, a really, really good backup. We got him a couple of seasons ago for 5.2 million, loaned him out for a bunch of games. Look, he played 18 games this season. We loaned him out to Marseille, but another one that's really good. Probably one of the best young players we have at the club is Javier Blasquez. Another one, Spanish. We got him a couple of seasons ago. Bought him for 6 million. Yeah, and then just loaned him out for a couple of seasons, but he looks disgusting. 6'2", can play with both feet, good mentality. Don't know why he's only valued at 36 to 42 million, because he is disgusting. And if I would say he's probably, it says he could improve significantly. If he gets another half a star, even if he gets another half a star better than this, you've got yourself basically your Touche Mane replacement. And he's also Spanish, so it helps with registration. Big Nico played 18 games, 22 off the bench, 3 goals, 6 assists. Another one that has the potential to be really, really good at the club is Gilly Fernandez. He just needs a wee bit of football. Obviously, when you take this save on, if you're going to play the games, it's going to be easier for you to bring the young players in, because the only downside to sort of simulating games, I don't get to decide who comes on in games and who starts games, which can be a little rough, because obviously I would start this kid in like the cup games, bring him on at like half time or something if we're winning like 3-0, so like you can get the young players a wee bit more football if you're playing the games. But this dude has a lot of potential. I highly recommend playing him. And of course, this young guy we actually loaned out to Newcastle for the season. He started 8 games, 30 off the bench. All in all, like, he got a decent amount of football. Like I said, I think this is probably, you could play him in midfield if you want. You could play him in midfield. I honestly would train him to maybe play as right back. I think he would be a very, very good Trent replacement. Then you have big Jovanovic. Another one is very, very good. Good mentality, super consistent, could improve significantly. Obviously, a really, really good backup for either Camavinga or Jude because he's a lot more attacking. He's not really good defensively. Look, we've got a lot of really, really good, well-rounded players to the team, so he would be one. But either a Camavinga, like I said, or a Jude replacement, or just a backup to them. Of course, then also young Nico Williams started 19 games, 30 off the bench, 10 goals and 10 assists. Astatunio, another one that's looking absolutely fantastic. He's pretty close to full potential, but look, all in all, not bad. We paid like what, a total of 35 million. Well, I didn't. Real Madrid did. But he looks absolutely fantastic. Another one that can play all along midfield, all along the attacking midfield and up top. He's super, super versatile. One of those players you really want at your club just because of his versatility. Of course, then young Arda Güler, I did get him loaned out to Como for the season, and for some reason he didn't start any games, which doesn't make sense. I don't get this. Como are a small team in Italy. Like, they don't have a lot of really, really good players, and Arda Güler's a great player for him. I honestly thought he would have got some games, but another one, he needs time to play. Then of course we have our young Hungarian superstar, young Adam Mirkak. This dude, honestly, you only get 5 games, 13 off the bench, 4 goals, 3 assists. If you give him football, honestly, I think he would be your Kylian Mbappe replacement, but the only downside is he's only got 12 acceleration and 15 pace, so I think he'd probably be better through the middle, but then is he physical enough to play through the middle, which is the problem. But he can play on the left side, he can play on the right side, he's both footed, he's got a good mentality, he's super consistent, and he's only 19. You then, of course, have Medina, who ended up loaning out to West Ham for the season, played a lot of games, 43 started, 14 goals and 5 assists. Another one, little inconsistent, but he's only 19 years old. He's very, very explosive. Physical stats are wild. He's one of those ones, once again, you could play on the left-hand side, and then you have a lot of versatility in your team. Then, of course, we also have Big Sam already and still at the club. I loaned him out to Dortmund for the season. Only started 2 games, 11 off the bench, 5 goals, 1 assist. And then if you do go into the under-19s, as you can see, there's a lot of really, really good players in here. I got this guy a few seasons ago. We paid 375,000 for him on an approach to sign. He's progressing very, very well. Maybe a little injury prone, but I think he's one, maybe in a couple seasons, kind of bring up in the first team, but I would probably try and loan him out, get him a little bit of football. But like I said, the under-19s are absolutely stacked out. If you go into the B team, the B team's absolutely disgusting. This guy as well, David Binder, is absolutely wild. Another one that could play as a Tuchel replacement, or because he can go forward a wee bit more, he's got good actually very, very good passing and good first touch, good vision. He could probably play as either the Camavinga or Jude replacement again, once again. Amazing mentality, 6'4", can play with both feet. He's pretty good all round, and he's only 19. Then even if you go into the C team as well, there's Graham Gibby, another one that's absolutely disgusting, who can play DM. He can also play centre back. I would say more likely play him as probably a centre back. It just his dribbling isn't great, his first touch isn't great, his passing and vision aren't fantastic, and it's hard to play in midfield when you don't have that type of passing, and you would use all his ability points trying to get his passing up, where I would just play him as a centre back, keep improving. He's 6'2". I will probably work on his weaker foot. He's got a fantastic mentality, a good backup to have around the squad. Then another one in there is Fernando Aquinios. Another one, amazing mentality, has a lot of potential. Once again, tried to get him loaned out, couldn't get him a loan spell, but he's another one, like a very, very good striker. Then of course we have young Diego Such. This is the one that I'm currently training to play as our future left back. I actually have him down, Diego Such left back and Johnny Jacinto as a right back. So both of these, you're going to have long-term replacements. Gutierrez is, I don't know what age he is now, like 28 probably in and around there. This kid's only 19. I would actually bring him up into the first team. Obviously, like I said, if you're playing the games, give him a ton of football. Like I said, this is the wee kid that we bought a few seasons ago that is probably more likely going to be, I would say he's a very, very good replacement for Trent. Like I said, I was working on his acceleration and pace. As you can see, he's at 14 and 13 now. He has everything: good crossing, good dribbling, good finishing, good first touch, 20 determination. And like I said, he's only 19 years old. I'm going to bring all these young players that I think are absolutely phenomenal. I'll put up into the first team for you, and then you can have a look around and see who you want to keep in the team. But he's one, like I said, Jacinto on the right hand side, and then Diego Such on the left hand side. I would start giving them a wee bit of football. I think they could be absolutely phenomenal. Another one that's been at the club for absolutely ages is Jose Reyes. He's been 4.5 to 5 star this whole time. Just doesn't really seem to be progressing. Obviously, I need to get him loaned out or bring him up on the first team, get him a wee bit of football. He's 21, he's Spanish. Like I said, he has a ton of potential. This has not moved. He's always been like 3.5 to 4.5 star potential. So like obviously he has really good potential, but he needs to either get loaned out or he needs to get some first team football. But ideally loan him out, because let's be honest, the first team's pretty star studded. One guy I was actually surprised, I wouldn't say I forgot about, because obviously I've loaned him out and stuff, is Johan Van Dam. Do you remember we bought this guy and I was like, oh, I bought him because of his name. Granted, his name was fantastic, but do you want to see how good he looks now? Yeah, he's not fucking bad. I looked at him in April. Obviously, I'd loaned him out at the start of the season, and I was like, I come back in January, I'll have a wee look, see how all the people on loan are doing. Come back in April for the youth intake, I'll have a wee look, see how everybody's doing again. But he has progressed so well. The only thing I think I would really work on with him is his strength, because he's got a fantastic mentality. He's super consistent. He can play with both feet. He's 6'4", 18 acceleration and 16 pace. Stamina, natural fitness, jump and reach are all good. His heading's good. His finishing's good. His first touch is good. Dribbling's good. Passing, wouldn't really worry about it too much. If he's going to play as a striker, you don't need him to have 17 passing. Technique is fantastic. Mental stats are good. He's good determination, good flair, good composure, good anticipation. I would work on the strength and just make him a absolute fucking unit. But like, we bought him probably a good few seasons ago, yeah, for like 9 million from Anderlecht. Yeah, this may have been a pretty good investment. I would bring him up into the first team and just let him and the other young wonder kid just fight it out and see who's the best. Or obviously, if you want to change the formation, you play two up top and you would have Van Dam and Dang as your two big physical strikers. Good luck to anybody if you play the two of them up top. Then on top of also having a disgusting team and all the wonder kids at the club, if you go into scouting, yeah, your transfer budget for the season is 827 million. Which, knowing if you want to buy anybody, that's perfectly fine. You may have the cash. Like I said, that was my goal, was to not spend a ton of money and just make the club disgustingly rich. But also on top of that, if you go into the scouting and go to players and go to shortlists, I do have a couple of shortlists for you. Obviously the default ones, just all the ones I was looking at the start of the game, but I do have a shortlist of some Spanish young players. And then we also have all the wonder kids that I found in the game so far. Obviously, you send your scouts out and do a lot better with the scouting, and you'll probably find a lot more like wonder kids. And obviously the next gen list will come up every year as well. But like, there's a lot of really, really good players in those lists. And like, you probably have some of the best young players in the game right now. Obviously, there's a few that are scattered around. Like, I think there's one at like Chelsea, but he's valued at like 118 million. Not gonna lie, you could just go and bam if you want to. The good thing is, you've got a good first team. Got a bunch of really, really good kids to basically play for the future, and you've over 800 million to spend in the transfer kitty. Boys, I'm pretty happy. Won the league 5 years in a row. We won the cup 4 years, and we won the Champions League 4 years. I'm very, very happy. I'm still pissed off at the PSG game, I'm not gonna lie, but look, it is what it is. We had a fantastic, this was a fun rebuild, because I never really get a chance to play with big teams like this. Like your Real Madrids, your Man Cities, PSG's pretty solid in this game as well. But like, you never get a chance to really overly play with them too much. And like I said, if you take the save file on, you're going to have a lot of fun. Everything will be in the pinned comments down below. But boys, that is going to do it for today's video. Thank you very much for watching. Remember, like, comment, subscribe. Only if you fucking want to. And YouTube, have yourselves a fantastic day. I think Big Don Carlo will be proud of us.